Welcome everybody to today's stream. Hope you had a nice day so far. Hello, hello. There we go. So let's see what we have to play today. As always, I'm joining the group as someone that just wants to fill. It's quite likely that we go Electric DPS. Yes, as always, some kind of support. That's apparently what I am doomed to play all the time. That's okay. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, let me know. I'm always happy to debate some stuff. But I would say the topic of today's stream is really focused around this debate that I came across recently in my research for YouTube videos and stuff about MMOs, and people are really thinking like MMOs are not up to date anymore. Welcome Snowdrop, welcome. You're early today. And the interesting part is that there are so many different opinions out there when it comes to how MMOs are currently. Are people really engaging with them? I heard, especially when I talked about my feelings about Guild Wars 3 coming out maybe in the future, I heard a lot of people saying they will never engage again in an MMO, which is a really interesting statement to make. So in my opinion, it's like saying I don't like to play MMOs in the first place, because that means that I have to redo my whole progress, which is completely fine. And if Guild Wars 2, if the most of the population is actually feeling like that, I think that Guild Wars 2 is definitely a very interesting MMO. I'm not sure if everyone would agree with that. Do you see how much hype is around the new MMOs dropping, brother? Yes, I would say there is a lot of hype, I agree. But the problem is that I see there is that a lot of times the hype dies out after a while. Yeah. And this is something that I noticed from all the new MMO launches, that it's like a few months and then they are all dead again. You know, it's just the old MMOs that are like 10 plus years out already. Those are the MMOs that are actually still alive, which is a good and a sad part, because that means then in the end, which MMOs will stay alive? The old ones. So is it really so to say, a genre that is still getting crazy new amount of player bases and interacts with new people and stuff? Or is it just a genre where older people stay and play the same stuff over and over? So I'm not sure. It's an interesting debate. I think they need to be rethought on how they've been made for over years. Yeah, oh my god, my healer's dead, so I'm instantly dead as well. Yes, very good. Good group again. Nice, you installed a browser extension. That's smart. Very good. That's what we like to hear, Snowdrop. Thanks for doing that. Chrono Odyssey will be create an entirely different standard for these games. That might be true, but I really fear that even though it might be a really good game, I feel like that after, let's say, 6 months, the player base will be like only, I don't know, a fraction of the starter player base, because there is not enough content. There will be some pay to win maybe in there, something like that. And people will just not completely play the game for years to come. Yeah. And this is, in my opinion, a big problem that MMO, just in general, new MMOs face. Yeah. And I really think that it doesn't matter which kind of MMO you make, even if it's a really good one, if it doesn't have enough content, people will go back to the old ones. What is going on with this group? That's because they've been catering to one type of player, not to new players. That's interesting. Good, interesting take. I'm not sure. I want to hear your opinion. I don't have like a completely rigid opinion there. I can be swung in either direction. So if you have good arguments, yeah, sure, I'm with you. Welcome, Winslow. Welcome. Just the classic chaotic bone skinner that we are up to loving on this channel, I guess. I mean, this group is horrible. It's actually insane. So hopefully we kill them this time. Welcome, Links. Welcome. Hope you had a nice day so far. Let's have some fun in Guild Wars together and debate some interesting meta topics, I would say. He said there will be nothing in the game shop that will benefit you in-game. Yeah, that might be true. Oh my god, this group. I'm not sure if we can actually beat this boss, to be honest. Holy shit. What are they doing? That's the third time we wipe here for no apparent reason. It's actually insane. So, I think there are a lot of new MMOs that come into the Western market will not have pay to win in the beginning. But over the course of time, I think it gets clear that they want to make money by making you spend money to progress in the game. That's very easily, especially if it comes NCSoft and even the other Eastern publishers, it's very likely to be the case. I hope it's not for this game, but I think it could be in a few months after release. Yeah, it could still be. Yeah, moving left is too hard apparently. It's actually insane. Yeah, Condi Druid is insane. Condi Druid and how is the other one? Bloodstone Elementalist. It's absolutely insane. They will definitely nerf those. I don't see a world where they actually leave that. Protection is low. That's the reason why you're dying here. Sure. Someone in our squad actually writes, yep, we are dying because of the protection. That's the reason. So good. The Arcade devs said the same, and Throne at Liberty as well, Aeon as well. Exactly. It's like they say that because they want to be devs to market their game. And that might be true in the beginning, that there is nothing in the cash shop. You know, that's like ArenaNet saying in the beginning when they release mounts, there will be never any monetization with the mounts. And then the first thing they do after with the next update is introduce the mount skins. You know, it's just they want to make money. They want to milk you for money. And I think to some extent that's okay because they, after all, have a live service game, you know. But for the majority of players, if you have pay-to-win aspects in there, they will not like that. So let's see if we get new games, even big MMOs, that are actually not milking you with money and microtransaction. I really hope there will be, but I really fear that a new MMO only is made for a short-term audience, and after a few months they don't care and just want you to spend even more money. I'm really serious there. I don't know. Any comment on the apparent decrease in player skill in Guild Wars 2? I mean, I don't want to be toxic, especially not on stream, but I really try to be positive and stuff. But if you watch this, you know, I really, what is going on? Why is my group dying here to this boss, even though we have now, I think, 3 healers or something? What's going on? I really don't know. It's, you know, Guild Wars 2 is like the power creep really helps people getting worse at the game. And I'm not joking. I think people are so comfortable playing easy builds that they, oh my god, I'm just dying to the aura tick. Do you see that? Don't get hit by any attacks and just dying to the aura here. Yeah, what can I say? You know, I'm just always like, oh my god, please heal me. What's going on? Come on, guys. Only 40% left, you know, we can do it. This is actually one of the worst groups I've been in a while, I have to be honest. Oh my god, we got this CC. We got it. We will win now. It's insane. We will win. Yeah, and I'm top DPS as Alacrity DPS. That's when you see that this is a really bad group, you know? Ooh, that hurts. But at least we did it. I mean, what can I say? I will say I think people are getting tired of MMO companies being so greedy and making it impossible to play without spending thousands. That's what are gonna kill the genre, it's suicide. Yeah, I think that's a big problem, and that's why I feel like that it would be a very smart idea for ArenaNet, talking about specifically ArenaNet and what their unannounced project will be, to not make it an MMO. You know, after reading a lot of comments, after reading a lot of, so to say, research on online, what other people think about what will come out in the future, what is smart to do, I actually agree with that if Guild Wars 3 or however this unannounced project is called, I think it should be some kind of online multiplayer game, yes, but it should not be an MMO. It should be something that is, so to say, for a more casual player base and has a way more straightforward gameplay experience. Something like maybe Warframe, something like in the lines of Path of Exile, something in this direction with a cool, good combat. I think that would be the smartest move, and just don't even call it Guild Wars 3, personally. I think they have to make a completely different franchise for that, and then I think it can succeed. But if they go for the same thing that they are doing with Guild Wars 2, I really think this is an interesting approach, but it will instantly kill Guild Wars 2, and it will probably also be really hard to compete against WoW, Final Fantasy, and all those already established MMOs. I'm not joking there. Welcome, Filthy. Welcome, welcome. Cash shop stuff always comes later when you are invested already, and you might think, okay, it's only $1. Yeah, exactly. And then they got you on the hook. Exactly. And I think that's you should make a game where this is, so to say, not absolutely necessary, and you can do it, but it should only be like skins and stuff. And if it's only for you and no real apparent pay to win aspect in there, I think it's fine to have some kind of cash shop in the game. I think it's okay to make money and give players incentives to actually spend stuff. I think that's okay if it's in some kind of, let's say, not too extreme amount. Yeah, that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think having a few microtransactions in the shops that are not affecting my gameplay, I don't care. If someone wants to spend thousands of dollar on just random bullshit skins, yeah, sure, go ahead. But if I need to spend that to actually get the best gear or in a reasonable amount of time, then I'm not into the game. Not at all. Yeah. I didn't even mean specifically this, but that's a great growth. The power creep really helps people get worse at the game. Yeah, I think I made that recently in one of my videos, you know, and I got attacked by so many people in the comments for making a comment like that. And the interesting part is every single person that attacked me in the comments for making such a quote in my video was a PvE open world player. I'm not joking, you know, every single one of them. So those people that are not caring about DPS in the open world attacked me for criticizing power creep in Guild Wars 2. It's actually such a funny, ironic statement, I have to be honest. You know, it's like people that are not aware of how bad they are at the game, or how, so to say, involuntary, are not really interested in improving at the game. I don't want to be toxic or anything. I mean, everyone can play the game as they want to. But if they then say, no, power creep is a good thing because then I can finally kill bosses, then they are self-reporting. I'm not joking. This is what they're actually doing. It's so funny. It's so funny. But what can I say? You know, I'm just enjoying the game, want to have fun, and hopefully don't want to have anyone in the group that is grieving by playing what they want to and really not succeeding at their job, like not playing quickness without telling us. Yeah, for sure. Welcome, welcome. I'm using Nexus and I'm using Blishhut as well as Arc. Those three add-ons I'm using. I think they have to do a different IP, and Guild Wars 2 should be just... Oh, don't CC, don't CC. Yes, no one CC'd, very good. Just get balanced, fixed and revamped. Not just leave it on auto run like Guild Wars 1. I think that would be the best way for every possible player, personally. I'm not sure if they will actually do it. I really feel like they are currently so invested in creating a new game, and you can clearly see that Guild Wars 2 suffers a lot. I'm not sure if they really have the resources to keep producing two games in a manner that is actually producing enough content for each of them. I hope so. I really would like that. Then I could cover multiple games if they are in some kind of my genre that I want to play. But to be honest, I really don't see it happening. I think the studio is too small or too bad at marketing and managing to actually make that happen. I'm not sure. I really want to hope that it works like that, but I feel like it's you can see with the small patches that we get now, I don't see it possible, to be honest. I think MMOs without a sub fee will always suffer from little content or marketing practices, be that pay to win or build templates. MMOs provide a massive amount of playtime for relatively little investment. That's why sub fees bring a stability of the development process. Yeah, I think that would be another cool idea to make the next game that they bring out some kind of more aggressively, let's say, paying cost, that you don't have to pay so to say, to get the game, but you also have to pay to continue playing the game. I think that would also make sense in terms of just how much money they could make with that, and then they could produce more content. But I feel like then they would alienate the completely Guild Wars 2 casual audience that they already have. And I think they want to actually get a big amount of the Guild Wars 2 players in the new game. I can't see it happening any other way. I think marketing-wise, I think that's the smartest move, to have already existing players go to my second game and play that, and when there's no content, go back to the other one or something like that. That's how Blizzard does it, and I think that's a really smart move. And if you can't do that because of your, so to say, completely different direction of how do you monetize it, I think that's already a big negative. Thanks, Lux. Really appreciate it, Tivon. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for your support. Hope you enjoy my content still. Trade system to randomly get like different costumes and have different rarities and drops is all you need in cash shops. People will spend money on any gambling system. They could make more than enough that way. Exactly. If it's just, whatever, it could be like some kind of color upgrading skins that are not really giving you more than just a different skin. People would go crazy on those. And I already mentioned that in a recent stream as well. Just look at Guild Wars 2. If they would include in Guild Wars 2 some kind of skins for weapon attacks. So for example, I always bring it up, but it's a good example. For example, the icy meteor shower, just for you, that you see some kind of icy effect on the meteor shower. If you would sell that in the cash shop, people would go crazy. They would buy that shit every single day. No effect other than just showing something different. Like in Path of Exile. They do that all the time there. People buy the supporter packs like crazy. In my opinion, if they did that in Guild Wars 2, no one would be sad. Okay, there would be some people sad that it's not earnable in game, but personally I think that would be such an easy cash grab without actually influencing anything from the players that actually just want to play the game for gameplay and combat. I think that's how you, in the modern world, would probably make money, by introducing some crazy cool skins people want to get and spend money on that, and the players that don't want to spend money, they can play the game, so to say, for free. I think that's the way you would currently make a new game, a new IP, whatever. Yeah, I'd be very down for self-contained game, like Elden Ring type game, where you don't necessarily expect a ton of replayability. I think personally it would be amazing if the new game had replayability, but it's not some replayability like an MMO where you have to interact with other people to necessarily do that, but where you can also play on your own. So like an RPG that has some kind of aspect which continues you grinding for new skins, for better gear and stuff. And you can play it with multiplayers in some kind of party environment. It's just like in Guild Wars 1. Go back to the roots. Go back into Guild Wars 1 where you have some kind of party environment, but it's not like the open world, massive 50 person squads and stuff. I think that would be very interesting. Go back to the roots with that. That would be my take. Skins like in LoL, exactly like that. Maybe not so that the opponents see that. I think that would be horrible, because then it would be really bad for me to play consistently in PvP and World versus World on a high level, because there would be, obviously it would be really hard to actually decide which kind of attack is now used, because you can't differentiate anymore. But if that would be, so to say, something that is actually doable for them in terms of engine, that would be lovely. I would really like that. You think you do it, and you are right. Exactly. I mean, you can trade gold for gems, so it could be still earnable in game. Exactly. If that, that's why normally I'm not white knighting Guild Wars 2 at all. I want to be a realistic person that gives the opinion that they are currently having. That's what I want to do. But in terms of microtransaction and pay to win, I think Guild Wars 2 is really, really well done, because I can get every single skin at the gem store. I just need to spend gold for that. Of course, it's a lot of gold, and I can easily swipe my credit card and would have gotten it way easier. But at least I have the option to swipe with real in-game gold. That's like getting a gold skin just from the trading post. I think that's a really cool system. If they would include something like that in any other game, I think people would be happy with that. It's just people with the loot boxes that have a problem, I would say. Typically, for example, the Blackline skins or the permanent contracts, that they are quite hard to get any other way, or are so expensive because they are so rare. Stuff like that, I think, could be criticized. But personally, I think the whole system of microtransaction in Guild Wars 2 is actually a really well executed system. Personally, yeah. Of course, there might be some that completely disagree here, but I think it's actually, yeah, decent. Definitely. Exactly. It's earnable in-game, exactly. I mean, let's be real, the only reason they aren't doing that is because of engine limitations. Yeah, I think, to be honest, Lux, I'm with you. I think they would have done dyeable weapons, and this is what I just mentioned, skins for attacks. They would have done that like 10 years ago if they had the option to do that in the engine. I'm not joking. I think that's one of the first things they would have done to monetize the game on another level. And then they noticed it's impossible for us to do, or at least not in a healthy manner or fast enough. So they decided, let's go for build templates. I'm not joking. I think that's what they actually meant to do. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The mount skins is also something that is very aggressively monetized, and it's also weird that you can't turn it off of other players. If you could turn all the other effects, you know, that it's exactly the same character model for everyone else except your own, I think that would be amazing. I think they struggle with the engine there, but I think that's what they should do, especially if they introduce something like I just mentioned. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is very fairly monetized, even though you might need to spend more than other games to get a better experience. That might be true. I think the convenience that they put in the gem store, and especially the quality of life features or the improvements, let's say with Soto, with Chanzia, you got actually a lot of quality of life and a lot of crazy good things with the features that you got with those. So I personally think they incentivize you quite well to actually buy the expansions. If you can say Guild Wars 2 is free to play, yes, but there are so hard restrictions on that you actually are really incentivized to spend money. And I think that's okay. You know, it's a crazy good game in my opinion, has crazy amounts of content for new player, so it's okay to spend some money to actually get access to that. But if you then also have to spend like 100, 200, even more dollars on just getting your character fully equipped with, for example, full back slots, that would be horrible. But that's not the case. In Guild Wars 2, you can get that without spending any money, just playing the game. And I think that's a good thing. That's the thing that keeps it in a good, so to say, state. Yeah. Guild Wars 2 is top tier in many areas, combat system, economy. Exactly. I think the economy is a really good thing in Guild Wars 2. I think that's one of the things why they are so careful to balance the gold rewards that you get, because they don't want to inflate the gem prices and make it, so to say, in either direction going too high or too low. I think that's the biggest thing here. They really want you to have the same value that you get for gems that you actually had like 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure they really focus on that. That's their main concern, to make gems not too easy to get or too hard to get, so that people still can do it. Yeah, definitely. I wish we could set the character model limit to 0, so you only see names or name templates and not a single model anymore except your own. Same goes for effects from others. That would be cool. I think it would be a little bit hard in PvE encounters where you can't see anyone anymore, because, for example, in raids that would be, I don't know, somewhat dangerous. But I think, especially in terms of just how well your PC can handle stuff, if you have a low-end PC, I think that would be amazing personally. I'm not sure if they can do that or if they just don't want to do it, but I personally would really like to see features like that, especially if someone in the mistlock or whatever is using crazy flashy stuff and I can't turn it off because they are standing directly on top of me. Stuff like that. Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. I play on Steam Deck, and with the lowest amount of players models, it runs a lot better. Exactly. If you just, I turned my character model limits down as well, just when I stream, to make sure that it doesn't crash and I have decent frame rates even in higher populated areas. But the problem is I still have sometimes really big issues when it comes to crazy amounts of flashy and crazy amounts of people standing on top of each other. So that's a really good thing if they would turn it down, and I could increase the character model limit if they had, for example, another slider that is useful for just effects in general. Yeah, that would be cool. I agree. Good point. We finally did it with this group. Amazing. The bone skinner was I have to say, quite painful. That would be perfect for trolling in PvP. I didn't see my teammates, that's true. What? Where are they, What? I kept my point, and there were 4 other people standing there and capping as well. I didn't see them, yeah. Good point. I mean, maybe they should disable it there, I guess, because that's not a big problem in PvP. For the most part, that you have performance issues, it's more like in World versus World and open world, I guess. Yeah. On PC, it doesn't matter too much, I guess. But I mean, it would be still cool to have the feature, you know? I have typically, this is my graphics settings. I only have that to low or lowest when I really need to have high FPS. Typically in PvP, I would turn it at least to medium. But you can see I still get 70 FPS or something, and I'm quite happy with the settings, at least with my PC, that's okay. But if I had more issues, I would be happy to have some kind of just setting that would help me to get my FPS in a decent spot. Yeah, for sure. You should give that suggestion. Talk with the other content creators and should test that. I mean, it would be amazing, yeah. But the problem is, tell me, which content creator in Guild Wars 2, you know, is like really active and still says this game is amazing, I will play it for the next 3 years. Tell me one other content creator that is actually saying, I will play Guild Wars 2 for the next 3 years. I think a lot of content creators in Guild Wars 2 are either burnt out or are just not happy with the community or the state of the current game. I'm not joking. I'm really sad about that. I personally would play the game for another 3 years if it still plays somewhat decently. I would really like to talk to other content creators as well, but I really feel like they are just playing the game on and off and not really interested in creating a lot of content anymore. It's really sad. It's really sad. Yeah, the lossless scaling app is really good. I agree. That is amazing. Maybe I should make a video about it. Yeah, good point. Yeah, a lot of them are really sad and are really like, oh, the game is doomed and Guild Wars 3 is coming out at some point and I can't play Guild Wars 2 until then. It's like they are really dooming it. I feel like the game is still amazing. So I would really like to have some positivity back in the community. You know, that's what, you know, it's not just, yes, we might not get as much content, but I still enjoy the game, you know. So why not be happy about what we have and not be sad about what we don't get? I don't know. It's just my maybe too coped up take here at this point. But I mean, why not be in the acceptance period and just have fun with what you have? That's my take there. Lara is actually probably one of the ones that is still positive and plays around, but I think she doesn't play that much. At least I don't see her that often anymore. She plays other games as well, which is completely fine. But I feel like she's also not as committed anymore as she once was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lara is a very positive person. That's probably a really good thing to be in a Guild Wars 2 content creation scene, because otherwise you might have a big problem. I think there is just, yeah, the content creation scene in Guild Wars 2, let's leave it at that, is weird and not very big. That much is for sure. The main problem with any new game is that older games exist. Players will unconsciously compare the new product to the game that they play right now. And obviously, oh, I should maybe focus on the fight and give some alacrity here. Play the game right now. And obviously, a new game can't compete with 20 years of World of Warcraft. Then the reasoning boils down to, why would I invest any time into the new game with 6 months of content and an unclear future when I have 20 years of content to go through? Exactly. They always compare with what they already know, and that's a problem. They have different expectations. They should have different expectations, but they don't, and that's a problem. And I think everyone, even if you notice it, you have somewhat similar expectations. So I really hope that the Unannounced project that Arena is currently working on is something that is a little bit different than the classic Throne of Liberty, maybe even New World, stuff like that. Maybe it's just a completely new genre they just make there, and people have no expectations whatsoever on that game, so they can easily, so to say, create their own expectations and don't have to compare themselves to an older game that they can't really compete with the amount of content that they already released. That would be amazing, in my opinion. Yes, I will get to your thing, Filthy, in a second. There's people still playing Guild Wars 1. I can play Guild Wars 2 without any new content too, because the current content is extremely fun. Yeah, fair. I'm completely fine. Yeah, I would totally agree there. So where do I go? Fire. Okay. Welcome, Arthur. Welcome. Good morning to you. I think Lara is as committed as usual. She just knows there isn't much content at the moment. Yeah, I guess that's fair then. You know, it's like, but other than Lara, tell me another positive vibes content creator for Guild Wars 2. I really think a lot of content creators are like in the doomer phase right now. And that's really sad. At least the people that I know and I watch. Yeah. So I really hope that there is someone out there that actually makes other positive content other than me and Lara. But I really feel like it's really hard to find people like that and make good debates and talk about the game when there's the community just not really behind you in that sense for the most part. I also feel like younger kids would rather play more fast-paced games like MOBAs or first-person shooters. Yeah, I guess that could also be another case. I had someone in the YouTube comments actually mentioning that they think there might be a revival of MMOs coming. I think that might be very interesting as well. I don't have any evidence for that, but I think that would be really cool if that would be the case. Because I think then if Guild Wars 3 actually hits that mark, then that might be an interesting future. But I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Yeah, maybe those two. Yeah, Ginsen, you are right. Maybe those two. But they are really, I would say they are more like, I don't know. I feel like the problem is people that are really try hard at the game, they make guides about the game in terms of crazy, let's say, hardcore content for new players to get into raids, to get into stuff and then getting better at the game. I feel like these people are missing, you know? We have some people that are investing time into gold making and that stuff, which is good. But this is not necessarily the thing that people should create content about, because we really want to get more attention to the game and how good Guild Wars 2 is, and not only people saying, oh, Guild Wars 2 is all about making gold. Because that might be true, but that's not the selling point of the game. The selling point of the game is making the combat look good. And this is only interesting to people that actually want to engage with the combat. And I think a lot of people that just want to make gold in the game, they farm open world meta trains. I'm not sure if people are sold by just making gold guides that they see randomly pop up on YouTube. Maybe that's just my take, but what can I say? Kiyoshi is positive, that's true. Kiyoshi, I mean, yeah, that's true. But he doesn't make YouTube content, I think. Not that much, at least. I recommend Guild Wars 2 to my friends in college, and all of them are like, dude, that game is played only by 40-year-olds. Yeah, that's a big problem, that it's like it has some image that is not really helping selling it. That's a good point, yeah. I don't know, but Teapot is still kind of keeping it a bit positive. Yeah, the problem is Teapot is trying to keep it positive, but he doesn't have any, so to say, incentives to keep coming back to the game, because currently he's just, I would say, in the burnt out phase. He doesn't have any community where he says, I want to play with those guys and raid with them or whatever. I think he's really like struggling to find a reason to play Guild Wars 2 at the moment. That's why he's not really invested anymore. Even though he might be a positive guy, I feel like he's not really invested in the game too much at this point. Which is completely fair, you know. After all, they are all human beings. At some point you want to play with your friends, and if there are no friends left in the game, why would you play the game then? I totally see that. Yeah. Sure, Arthur, sure. I mean, you should give it a shot. The newer content creators enjoy the game a lot. Yeah, it would be amazing. I really would like that, yeah. Nike, yeah, maybe. I haven't seen a video in the last few months from Nike, to be honest. So I'm not sure if he even still plays. Would be a fun conversation, you know. For sure. Yeah, Darren's is like really like he's really like falling down, like seriously really doing meta trains every day, and now it's just like, oh my god, this game just doesn't provide any content anymore. It's like every single video is about that. I'm not saying he's like wrong on that. I'm just saying I'm not sure if that's the biggest positive influence on the ArenaNet marketing, I would say there. Terrence is deflating. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so Filthy had a question. So I said I want to answer this now. So the question that Filthy had was a really interesting one, and I think a lot of people might struggle with that. What's the difference? Why would you take on a support Harrier, Givers, or Minstrel? So I will answer this after this short clip here, and we talk about it. CO2 here was a real commitment. It is fun. and it was positive, especially for new players. Yes, I get that. Yeah, that's Zero to Hero. Maybe I want to do that in the future as well. Yeah. Guild Wars 3 is the future, but even if it is, it's like 3, 5, maybe 7 years out. So yeah, I don't know. MMOs are a genre of the past if we are talking about nonlinear progression. Younger people choose other types of games and older people can't dedicate their whole life grinding. Exactly. So I really hope we get a game that is somewhat of a new genre and not only for people that are either, I don't know, 30 plus or are not, so to say, really interested in MMOs at all. I really hope that the new game is for all kinds of players and not only those like crazy WoW lovers of the past. I really think so. I came back to Guild Wars 2 after quitting Heart of Thorns, and if it wasn't for Teapot Zero to Hero, I wouldn't be back. Yeah, I mean, then it reached the right people. I really hope that more people would be like that, and maybe if that's the case, maybe it's necessary for me to do another Zero to Hero challenge from my perspective, and maybe with a different challenge on top, maybe something like that would be interesting for sure. You should? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Rage maybe, yeah, true. They need to introduce some variability to future meta events. There could be different bosses or pathways you need to take based on random chance. Could make it less stale. I think they would like to do stuff like that, but I'm not sure if they actually are capable of that. Because tell me one meta event where this is actually happening. I'm not sure if the engine is actually capable of doing stuff like that. They have it in fractals, yes, but that's about it. That's really the only thing where I would say this is happening in fractals. Which is like 1 or 2 fractals where this is the case. Delete your whole account? I'm not sure if I would delete my account. I would just probably start another one and start over from there. But deleting my whole account would be really sad. You know, that's a really sad thing. I mean, for me as a player, if I would do that, that might be probably the reason why I would not play that much of Guild Wars 2 anymore, because I always feel like the pain of saying, oh my god, I had this really annoying achievement, I had that already, so why do it again, you know? Oof, I think I couldn't do that. I think I couldn't. Hardcore SSF? Yeah, that would be amazing. Hardcore SSF Guild Wars 2. Yeah. Maybe that's the future. Yeah, the hardcore player base needs stuff like that. Maybe. But how would that even look like in Guild Wars 2? Unnerved Sovon? Soloing it? Yes, exactly. I do think MMOs are slowly fading into history, sadly, because I think most people like to just log in to some kind of first-person shooter, playing a couple of games, easy and simple to do with friends or not. Yeah, I get that feeling as well, you know, I liked it as well, you know. Sometimes I just log in Guild Wars 2, play some PvP and log out again. I don't want to engage, or maybe do a strike mission or something like that, but I don't want to engage with like a full meta train of 4 hours, or I don't want to farm and get a new boss and learning it like an LCM or something. I just want to have some fun and log in, play a bit, go back out. Yeah, I can feel that. And if the new game they release would catch both types of players, that would be amazing. Yeah, that would be amazing. And basically just after a simple gameplay without large time investment. Yeah, exactly. Hardcore Guild Wars 2 would unironically go hard. It would be such an ironic thing, because Guild Wars 2 is like the casual game, and they bring out a really hardcore mode and it would go hard. That would be so funny if that, you know, people would like that, because the gameplay, the combat is actually supporting stuff like that. I would be so amazed if they would do that. It would be so good. I'm currently playing base Heart of Thorns, POF, Zero to Hero, some sort. Enjoying it a lot. Yeah, that sounds cool. Sounds cool. What I can't get into my head are the idle games. Oh my god, please don't make an idle game. That would be horrible. Please make a game that is like, I have to invest time, but I can get rewarded for playing the game. I don't want to have a game that is playing itself. You know, I'm not joking here. The Unknowns project, if it has anything similar to the combat of Guild Wars 2, if it is somewhat similar to it, better or a little bit different, but somewhat similar, I will play the game. It doesn't matter which kind of game it is. But as soon as they make it completely different, I will maybe try it, but if it's completely different combat that is worse in every single way, then I will not play it. Guild Wars 2, the thing that keeps me playing is the combat. if the combat of a new game is different or bad, I will not play it. I'm not joking here. Yes, you're failing the pinata? I guess that's true. Maybe let's find another. I'm not sure if I can find another group. Ah, very good. I'm not failing the pinata. Are there any viable builds that use shortbow for PvE? Yes, you can run Condi Renegade or Revenant in general as a Condi build. So, for example, Condition Herald is good with shortbow. Condition Soul Beast is good with shortbow. And yeah, Support Scrapper could be played with shortbow as well. Those are probably the 3 builds that you can play with shortbow. Yeah, that's what I would say. Thanks, Shalur. Really appreciate the Prime. Really. Thanks a lot for your support. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, I mean, I would play the hardcore mode as well. I actually would. I'm not joking. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Guild Wars 2 is one of the best combats in most games that I have played. I think there are some contenders that I would say have a good combat as well. But if I would say, in general, the amount of combat and fun I had in Guild Wars 2 and the differences with build crafting, I think Guild Wars 2 stays on top. Yeah. Yeah, glad you enjoy my guides. Don't worry. I'm happy to help. Yeah, always happy to help. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I got into the map. So I wanted to talk about the Harrier, and if Filthy is here, I want to talk about the differences of Harrier gear and Giver's gear and why this is such an interesting take. So I have 2 build templates here. I have one Harrier Heal Chrono template, and I have another one for Givers. And you could also make one with Minstrel. So let's compare it. I have a full Harrier setup where I have like 80% wound duration and like 1.26 healing power. If I go for full Givers, I have a little bit higher healing power. I have way more toughness and I have a way more wound duration, but I lose my sigils. Yeah, I can't have the paralyzation there. So I lose like 10% wound duration in here, get some more. So what is the difference? Why would I use Givers or Minstrel? I would use that if I need no damage. You know, you have no damage on a Giver setup. So if you're running Fractals, you can't do that because, for example, in Fractal CM, you need some kind of damage there. If you want to go for tanking, I would recommend going for a little bit of toughness to actually get the tanking on you, the fixation. But if you need to survive, for example, on Kadim 1 or 2, you have maybe getting a lot of hits on you, then having more toughness helps a lot. So I would go then for Givers. But if you're not doing Fractal CM, you don't care. You could go for full Givers Minstrel all the time. Just saying, Harrier is the most optimal choice in terms of just raw support damage output that you can bring if you know what you're doing. As soon as you are struggling to survive on your own, then go for Givers or Minstrel. That's the answer here. Yeah. But if you have any more questions, let me know. But this is the general rule of thumb. But of course, it depends also on the build that you're using, on the, so to say, what kind of content you're doing and what kind of players you are with. It's always a little bit dependent on that. So bear with me and have some kind of, yeah, grain of salt when it comes to that. If you not always use Givers and say I'm happy and completely fine with that, sometimes it's better to go for Harrier because just a little bit more damage in an easy fight might be helping and getting a, so to say, helping the group. Yeah. If Givers and Minstrel is tanky, why World vs. World supports go full Minstrel? Because if you go full Minstrel, you actually get Vitality as well. Whereas when you go full Givers, you don't get any Vitality. You only get Toughness, Healing Power, and Concentration. Which is, Healing Power and Concentration are the stats that you actually want. Full Minstrel gives you, in comparison, I can show you, gives you Toughness, Vitality, Healing Power, Concentration. You lose Concentration. So that means you will not reach 100% boon uptime or boon duration with full Minstrel. With Givers and Harrier, you can do that. So Minstrel is like you're trading, so to say, a little bit of your boon duration, boon uptime, if you can't upkeep it that easily, for more self-toughness and maybe a little bit more healing power. That's the trade-off. And in general, toughness is something that is always better than vitality when it is paired with healing, because healing is, so to say, toughness scales healing 1-to-1. So that means when you get healed, you get healed for 100, but your effective HP go up with having more toughness because you take less damage. If you have higher vitality, your healing is worth less because your overall health pool goes up, whereas your healing does not. So you only heal for a smaller percentage of your total health. So having toughness in PvE or in all game modes is actually scaling way better with healing power than vitality does. So that's why you typically would not run full minstrel in PvE if you don't really need to be extremely tanky and having more vitality and toughness as well. I hope that makes sense. Exactly. The boon rip doesn't make it important to have 100% boon duration. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Having the best combat system, Snowdrop, and making a really bad meta event where you don't need the combat system at all because you use the mounts and indestructible objects. That's horrible. I don't know why they always do that. It's in Chiala Delves. It's now in the new map as well. I really, really don't know what they are doing there. I really hope they see that in the future and don't do that again. But I think at least it's already in the game, so we can't change the past, I guess. What I love about Guild Wars 2 is the REST API with which you can get basically all the information about your account. That's such a great feature. Yes, the wiki and the API, those are so good features. Together, they are the best, so to say, third-party, I don't know, setup that you could imagine for a game. It's amazing. So I personally think if they would do that in any other game, people would love it. In Guild Wars 2, it's like people think it's just there since the beginning, so it's good, but it's really not talked about it that much. And I think it's an amazing feature, and I'm really hoping that whatever they are doing, that this will be the same in the next game as well. Having great wiki, having a great API to support it. Yes, I really hope so. Yeah, exactly. You don't get one-shotted that easily. I mean, typically in PvE, it's not like that necessary, but one-shotting is like typically some mechanics one-shot you anyway, and the ones that don't, you can survive easier on a tank healer. So it's always good to be the last one standing as a healer, if you think like that, because you are the one that actually keeps the others alive. Whereas if you go down first because you are squishy, but you can heal, then the others have to rescue and you will fail. Keep that in mind. Is there a way to get good accessories for new level 80 players? The best way is to actually go to, how is it called? The Living World Season 3 maps. So, for example, Bloodstone Fen. I don't even have it on this character. Bloodstone Fen. You can get some crazy good currency. Bitter Frost Frontier. Somewhere here is it as well. I can show you somewhere, I guess. So, here. We have Bloodstone Fen, Elba Bay, Bitter Frost Frontier, Lake Dorek, Draconis Man, Siren's Landing. If you have Living World Season 3, you can easily farm all the necessary accessories there. It's really, really good. It's really easy to farm, especially Bitter Frost Frontier. You can farm it so fast there. So I highly recommend it. Welcome, Roaming Spirit. Welcome, welcome. No fish today. No fish today. Yeah. Best recommendation for this period, Legendary kit. I'm thinking of choosing Dawn. I don't have any Legendary yet. I think Dawn is the most, so to say, iconic one. I personally think you should go for the one that you actually enjoy the skin of, or where you actually need the weapon. But if you don't have any of them, go for the one that you actually think is worthwhile for you to get. I think personally Dawn is always a good choice because a lot of classes, I think like 7 or 8 classes nowadays can use Greatsword. So yeah, just go for it. It's really good. And it must add pet fights to Guild Wars 2. I mean, they could add some kind of mini game with miniatures. I think they had that in Guild Wars 1 as far as I know. That would be amazing if they did that in Guild Wars 2. I think people would grind hard for all the miniatures. I personally think that. Yeah, I actually chose the Legendary Harpoon. I'm not joking. I actually chose that one. I already have one, but at least I don't have a second Harpoon. So I thought maybe I will make another one at some point, Who knows? Maybe we'll get it on land, Or maybe I run a harpoon warrior underwater. I don't know. Yeah, Nintendo might sue them, but I think if you just have a mini game with miniatures, I think they will not have that much attack space in terms of what is actually stolen from Nintendo. They might sue them anyway, I guess, but yeah. Underwater Warrior is fun. That's why I mentioned it. That's the only reason why I mentioned it. Not because it's like a meme. I think it's actually quite fun. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, I think they will not do another underwater weapon on land. I think that's unlikely. I think it's actually more likely that the balancing idea would be to give us more core trade lines so that you, for example, get like domination. You get, I don't know, some new trade line for Mesmer that is useful for every single elite spec on Mesmer. That could be the case. Or we just get more utility skills. I think those two are the most balanced, the most insane balance decisions they could do. But I think it's leaked or people rumored about it that the new expansion will actually bring out elite specs again. And this will completely fuck the balance. But at this point, I think they don't care about it anymore. They just want to sell the next expansion and want to have fun for us. So I guess that could be the case. Yeah. Imagine a whole world versus world underwater map. I mean, then people would play that for 2 days and then they would quit. I'm pretty sure about that. Because the underwater combat might be interesting at first, but I feel like for 50 versus 50, it's a clusterfuck, even more than normal. It's horrible. A lot of the skills can't be ground targeted, or no skills can be ground targeted, so that would be horrible for world versus world. Underwater elite spec, yeah, only useful underwater. Ooh, that would be so bad. I have to be honest, that would be so bad. I mean, I would get it, of course, but I don't see that happening, to be honest. But it would be a fun meme. Yeah, should be released on April 1st, and people would really like the forums would be full. Highly unlikely, but any chances of a water-based expansion? I think we need the underwater, how's it called? The Aqua Breeder. We need this one. So the Aqua Breeder is like the thing where I would say, yes, maybe we get an elite, or not only an elite spec, but a whole water-themed expansion just so that the Water Breeder is actually something that actually makes sense. Would be interesting. But I personally think they will just include it at the next expansion for no apparent reason. It's just like, we don't have that yet, so we will include it there, but we don't have crazy amounts of underwater content. That's my prediction, to be honest. Side is the only we actually need. I need my Dervish gameplay. I would love a side, but personally, I think Reaper already has the side, so I'm not sure if they actually will include anything like that. But I would love a side weapon. It would be so cool. I mean, we have Summer. I think there is one that we already have. How is it called? Is it not only called Side or something? Yeah, Side Starskin. You know, this is the Side. Yes, you could play this one. I mean, there are multiple ones actually nowadays. This one is big. Yeah, there are multiple. Ooh, this one is also very big. Yeah, there are multiple ones. So you can enjoy maybe roleplay as a Dervish. I think it was 2 already. Yeah, 10 player maximum content. That would be interesting. I'm with you, Roaming Spirit, actually. I'm with you. Yeah. That would be, I mean, it would, I think it's a meme about the underwater expansion. I think there might be Aqua Breeder in the next one, but I think not the whole expansion is focused around that. I don't see that. Yeah, I can't check it on stream right now, but I will check it later, Wrong Spirit, don't worry. And it will never touch underwater combat ever again. I think it's actually not that likely, to be honest, that we get a full map or something like that. It's more like we get the Aqua Breeder and that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem is Guild Wars 2 underwater combat, don't get me wrong, I think it's not bad. I think it's actually quite well done. But the problem is the land combat is just so much better. Why would you make your new expansion focused around something that is actually not the best of your game? You should always focus on the stuff that you are actually strong in, that you are having strengths. And that's the land combat and not the underwater combat. So I really don't see that happening, to be honest. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, the swimming infusions actually hint to something different, but I think that they tried that and then they thought, nah, it's not worth pursuing. I really don't see why they did that any other way. Maybe they will do that in the next expansion, but I really don't see that it's that important. It's like they tried how it works and stuff, but then they thought, underwater is not the way to go. I really think that's not very likely, to be honest. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so my hot take regarding raids is like raids, they tried to revive raids with Raid Wing 8, and I personally think they are failing as we speak. And I think they will not include a new raid. I think the Raid Wing 8 is the last Raid Wing they will ever release. That's my take. Yeah. It's the underwater expansion. Let's check. What? The leak. Yeah, I noticed that. The wave of shadow with the Lagos and stuff. Yeah, people really thought this would be the case. I mean, it would be like, it was such a well-made thing, you know? I don't know. I don't see that happening, to be honest, the underwater thing. I want a horse mount so that I could ride with my warrior with chainsaw. I mean, I would like to have some crazy cool new mounts, but I think the mounts don't have any more gameplay that they can fill. The niches that are covered with the mounts are already quite dense. So you have the roller beetle, you have the sky scale, and maybe you use the skimmer and the griffin, and maybe a jackal or the warclaw, one of those. But the Springer and the Raptor are like completely useless if you and the turtle of course as well. So I'm not sure what a new mount would actually bring the game in terms of new stuff. I really don't see that happening, to be honest. But I mean, what not, you know? I'm thinking of expanding my Mesmer play from Virtuoso, unlock Chronomancer or Mirage next. I would personally go for Chronomancer. I think Chronomancer is like really, really good and it's not too hard to learn. Mirage is like extremely hard to learn, and especially in PvE it's really niche. With the next balance patch it will be probably really good, but also quite hard to play. So I personally would start with Chrono, and if you enjoy it you can go for Mirage next. But I personally would say Chronomancer is the safer pick. It's really good in PvP as a support, it's really good in PvE as a support, just really, really good everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, it's really well made. I agree. It's really well made. But I don't see it happening. Yeah, the account swim speed infusion, you know? Swim. Oh, yes. The swim speed infusions, you know? So buying this is like, wow, why? What? It's so good. It's so good. Why would you buy that? So much money for nothing. Yeah. Oh, I'm not a big turtle enjoyer. You know, I like the skin of the turtle and stuff, but I feel like it's forcing you to not use the Guild Wars 2 combat. That's why I'm not a big fan of it. I'm sorry for the people that enjoy the turtle, but I feel like the combat of Guild Wars 2 is too good to actually force you off the combat, so to say, forcing you on the mount. I don't like that. Yeah, maybe we get an underwater rework. I mean, that could be, but I personally doubt it that there will be any big reworks in the future. I think they are really like, they push out new content and they leave the old content as it is. They really maybe give us some new reward updates, but that's about it. I really doubt that they will make any big changes to anything that already exists. I really think so. Yeah. Before getting the Sky Scale, the rabbit was super useful. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you, Takeshi. But the problem is, with the Sky Scale and the Roller Beetle, there are a lot of mounts that are completely useless. So why would you use the Raptor if you have the Roller Beetle for very linear flat terrain? Why would you use that? And the Sky Scale is just typically better than the Springer for a lot of situations. There are some niche scenarios, and I think getting a new mount will probably be covered by the old mounts already. So I really don't see it happening. It would be cool if they could come up with something crazy, but I don't see it. My friend was raging trying to swap from Virtuoso to Mirage in PvP. I never really play support outside quick DPS hold, but I'd rather give Chrono a try. I mean, you can play aggressive Chronomancer as well. Don't worry. Chronomancer can also, just like I do, be played offensive as well. It's really fun. I would say Chronomancer is in such a good spot right now, you can easily play it as a offensive DPS as well. Yeah. What's your infusion? I mean, I don't have that many infusions. I'm not a big Fashion Wars enjoyer, but currently I have like the Winter's Presence, which is like the snow glowing thing that is like snow falling around me, and I have somewhere I have a ghostly infusion. Yeah, here, there's a ghostly infusion. That's about it. Yeah. I used the 15% swim infusion with 5 AR to just fill out the gear for the niche times I use it. I mean, if it's not that expensive, of course you can use it, but I personally think I don't swim at all. You know, it's like I just, you know, I use the skimmer as soon as I go to water with my character. So I personally have no need for that. And I'm just filling out my agony slots with power infusions or condition damage infusions if I play the character in fractals as well. That's how I typically play the game. But I can see why you would use it. I'm just not understanding why you would go for the 6k gold one. That's just insane to me. But I guess everyone has a different, you know, insanity. You know, I collect a lot of skins that are completely insane because I never use them. I have 3 legendary light armor sets for no apparent reason because I don't use any of the skins. So yeah, I agree. I'm insane as well. So I can't judge. I will never judge anyone that spends money or gold in Guild Wars 2 on something. Yes. Skyscale was the downfall of exploration. I think we had a really good, I'm not sure who had it on stream at some point, but it was such a good idea. So in Final Fantasy, there is a feature that you can use mounts as soon as you completed a map or something similar in Final Fantasy. That would be amazing in Guild Wars 2. If the first map exploration forces you to do the map exploration without the sky scale. And as soon as you completed the map, you can then go for the sky scale. That would be such a good feature because that would make exploration really interesting again. And not only like, how can I get up there? Oh, let's lose the sky scale. You know, this is just boring. That's no gameplay. It's just broken sky scale. That's it. So I really hope that they will do something like that in the future expansion. I doubt it because they want to sell the sky scale and that's what sells it. But I think that would be a good balancing act. Yeah. Ah, that was you. Exactly. Yeah. Then good idea by you. You know, I'm just saying here. Was a good idea. Maybe ANET should listen to you. The DPS druid benches on SC are very high. I've seen none in group content so far. Is there a reason why it's so rare? I mean, typically, really high benches need to be practiced first, and people typically don't practice that fast. And you will only see that in crazy good people's statics, for example, stuff like that. And I personally would also say DPS druid is very, very high, but people, especially the ones that are somewhat like trying to learn a new build, they typically also want to play the build and know that it will be good in another week's time. And I think the Condi druid has really high benchmarks, but I really doubt that it will stay like that. I really think so. I think typically they are nerfing Condi Druid or any crazy overperforming builds very fast in PvE. So I really expect there will be a hotfix somewhat soon where they actually fix that. I don't see it like that. It's the same for the Bloodstone Relic. I think the Bloodstone Relic is like, you can bench like over 40k on a quick DPS catalyst right now with the Bloodstone Relic. I think they will nerf that for sure. I personally think that's not what they want to have in the game. But maybe, you know, I think maybe there might be another reason why people don't play the Condi Druid version, but I don't know it. Yeah. I need to do the underwater skimmer quest thing. Yeah, that's something that is a little bit, I wouldn't say annoying, but it's something that is definitely worth your time. I personally think this is like, the underwater quest thing helps a lot with exploration. So if you go for map completions in PvE and anything that has some kind of water in there, the skimmer is like such a big upgrade. It's insane. It's really, really good. Highly recommend to doing the quests. I think it's not that long. I did it years ago, I know. But when I did it, I think it was not like crazy amounts of time spent on that. Yeah. Yeah, the Catalyst is, I think the Catalyst one is really cool. I really hope they will not completely nerf it in that sense that you can't play it at all. I personally just hope it will be in a decent spot, you know, where it's not absolutely insane, but I think it makes sense to have a build like a Catalyst where you have a lot of blast finishers using this relic. I just think it should not be over 40k as a quick DPS. I think that's not how it should be. I think the rotation changes as well, but I think everything else stays the same as far as I know. Yeah. You can also play some crazy over 45k Tempest now again because of that. Tempest has the same, I wouldn't say issue, but the same idea behind the build where you use Scepter Dagger to actually blast a lot. Yeah. Yeah, and that you only use this relic. How is it called? Something with, how is it called? Something with Bloodstone. Oh, it's Relic of the Bloodstone. Okay, yeah, this one. This is really good because it gives you a Bloodstone explosion that deals some nice damage. You have 15% damage increase, and you can upkeep that really easily or consistently with your blast finishers on the Scepter and the Dagger offhand. It's really good on Elementalist, in particular on Catalyst and Tempest, which is a really cool design. I think that it should be meta on those builds, but it should not be as broken as it is. That's my take. No. Yeah, exactly. It's like 47k, which is like, what? Like, absolutely insane. I think this, personally, I think they should nerf it down so that it's like 44k on a normal build, on a DPS Catalyst, for example, DPS Tempest, and on a, so to say, quickness DPS Catalyst, I think it should be like 38, 39k, something like that, even though it's already quite high. But I think that's the number that is somewhat okay. If they nerf it down to that and it's slightly better than Fireworks, I'm with it. I think that's really cool. Yeah. Also, bonus meme regarding the plus 30 swim speed infusions. You can get the same speed with a plus 10 in swiftness, and movement speed is kept. Oh, so good. That's why you spend your 6k gold, so you don't have to use a character that gives swiftness, you know? Big brain. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone can spend their money on what they want to spend it on, but I personally think stuff like that is like quite high on the insanity level, to be honest. Yeah, the spear cutter numbers were quite hard to reach, whereas this Bloodstone relic is actually not even that hard to reach. That's the difference, yeah. Oh, where is it? Maybe today I get the invisible boots. And the best part, you can run Bolt to the Heart instead of Fresh Air, so you don't have to ruin your keyboard. Yeah, this is actually, I personally think that's a really cool thing because that makes it easier for people that don't have the highest amount of, so to say, APM that they want to play with. So I think that's really cool that you can use Bolt to the Heart, which is not always the best choice. I think that traits like that really struggle on some bosses where the beginning, or we have phases where sometimes the last phase is different or you can't upkeep it that easily. That's really interesting. So I personally really like to have different builds that have different strengths and weaknesses. So I personally think going for Fresh Air in some builds, going on Bolt to the Heart in others is really cool. But I also think it would be cool to make an Elementalist build like my low intensity Tempest build that uses very low amount of button presses and still achieves a decent number. And I think that could be maybe done with the Bloodstone relic as well. I think that's really cool. Yeah. It just needs to be, so to say, brought back in line and not be absolutely broken. Yeah. Honestly, I thought they will add the turtle into World vs. World. Every shot with the cannons will cost 1 supply. I think they actually thought about doing that because I think from a design perspective, the Warclaw is very similar to the turtle. I really think so. But the problem is that people didn't like the Warclaw for the most part. A lot of people didn't mind it, but no one really said, holy shit, this was the addition to World vs. World that it needed. So they are really careful to add new stuff because the World vs. World community is somewhat thriving, or at least staying alive, without any new additions. So by adding something new, I think that they might be scared to break it. So they will just leave it alone and will be somewhat happy about it. I think that's the idea behind that. But I think Siege Turtles, just from the name already, makes a lot of sense to add to World vs. World. And it would be a big selling feature of the new expansion if that's locked behind that, something like that. But I personally think the expansion 6 will be about roller beetles. I really think the roller beetle is something that came with Living World Season 4. Skyscale was also added with Season 4, but was also come back with Soto. I think the next expansion will have a somewhat reworked or at least updated roller beetle. I really think so, yeah. Welcome, Elena. Welcome, welcome. All the hype every time a new MMO is announced must mean that people really want them. Do you really think that's the case? I think people are so to say, they want to get into a new MMO until they notice the new MMO can't deliver as much as they wanted it to deliver, and then people quit again and go back to the old MMOs. So it's like they are really addicted to playing a new MMO until they notice there is not enough content for them and go back to the old ones. I really think people are hoping for a really big one, but they are always, so to say, desperate after a while to go back to the other one where you already have the 20 years of content. That's the problem there. Yeah. Welcome, Koch. Welcome. Thanks, by the way, all for the follows. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Darkbringer. Really appreciate it. Welcome. Your take? One sec. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 since pre-launch, having a break now due to not having everything there is to do and due to burnout. I mean, Guild Wars 2 is a game where you can easily come back. That's one of the biggest selling points of Guild Wars 2. Yeah. New MMOs have to compete with decades of content development is the core problem. Exactly. And that's why I think an MMO that comes out now has the problem that the community expects way too much from stuff that is already at launch of the game available. So I personally think the community has to think differently and say, if the combat, if the features, if the systems that are in place are good, then we play the game. If the content is not, let's say, 20 years worth already, that's fine. Just the combat, the features, if that's good, then I will play it. And that will be the case for any MMO that comes out, even if it's not an MMO. I want a new game that has a really good feature system, really decent amount of content maybe at the start, but I don't care too much about the content if the features and the combat are great. That's my take. And I'm really with you, Darkbringer. Yeah. I mean, maybe quad beetle mount, yeah, maybe. I don't know, would be interesting. I don't see it, but I think a roller beetle rework or update would be cool for the next expansion, would be a big selling point. I think that's a really unique mount, that's really cool, and I think that could be a good idea for the expansion 6. I think Guild Wars 2 is healthy, but showing its age too much. ANET has the best chance to keep the genre alive with Guild Wars 3, but if they don't develop it, the genre is just going to continue dying. Like I said in the beginning, I personally think Guild Wars 3 or whatever it's called, the unannounced project, whatever is coming in the background, I don't mind what it will be. I don't know if it will be called Guild Wars 3 or whatever. If it keeps good combat in there, it doesn't need to be an MMO. Just something that has good combat, good features, and is fun to play, I will play it. I really don't care. It doesn't need to be an MMO at this point. I think a lot of players are waiting for an MMO, but it doesn't need to be an MMO. If something is really good and has fun, progress, something that is fun to play, maybe multiplayer as well, people will play it. You know, it just needs to be fun. That's the most important part. Glad you like my Guild Wars 2 stuff. I'm happy to produce more, and I hope you keep watching. You know, that's my take. Glad you like it, Kentaro. Glad you like it. I think MMOs will always be the future, but we also need some for children to explore their own worlds. That's an interesting take, yeah. I mean, maybe the MMO community is like getting older and have children on their own, so maybe those people will play the MMOs then as well, you know, if you force them to, you know. That's how they grow up, how they are raised to live with MMOs, maybe, yeah. Players are wanting long play generally. Yeah, exactly. And I think if you make a new game, you should, in my opinion, introduce procedurally generated content. I always bring this up. I'm sorry for you that are watching frequently, but I think stuff like that gives you, so to say, longevity without having the need for the developer to produce content by hand, but that it's, so to say, producing content on its own by adding slight different tweaks to the content that is already there, but you replay it, make it a little bit more challenging, make it a bit different than last time. I think that's amazing. I really hope stuff like that will be in future games, and I would enjoy that. Like I would grind fractals, dungeons, whatever comes out for hours and hours if it has just a slight incentive to replay them every single day and have them crazy of new build crafting maybe in there just to complete the boss or get different stats to actually survive the hit or something. That would be amazing. Just a small twist and tweak to what is already in the game. I think that would be amazing. Game development is also too expensive now. Yeah, especially MMOs. Like, you know, MMOs are like 5+, maybe 10, maybe even longer in terms of like Star Citizen, for example, how much time they develop, you know? And it's so hard to actually make a game that has like good features in there when it comes out and works perfectly well, but also has 20 years of worth of content that other MMOs like World of Warcraft, for example, already have. That's impossible to reach. It's just impossible. And people expect stuff like that, if it's subconsciously or consciously, but it's not a good thing. So yeah, big problem, big problem. Yeah, I really hope that someone wants to talk to me from the other Guild Wars 2 content creators so that we can at least get some discussion and positivity going back in the community. I think that's what Guild Wars 2 needs right now, is just some people talking about it, having fun in it, even if we don't get crazy amounts of content in the next months, but at least we can talk about the game and have fun and maybe hype up the next expansion. Yeah, good point there. I really hope so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always when I bring up Star Citizen, then then the chat escalates very quickly. Yes, I know, and it's more like a joke at this point, but I think it's worth bringing up at least, yeah. But yeah, of course, I think something with No Man's Sky elements or something like that is. I'm not a developer, but I personally think that would be a cool feature to have in a game, so that it's actually somewhat easier to develop stuff for the developers, and not only every single thing has to be handcrafted and placed so that you can actually get the content done. I think that's harder to do and harder to upkeep. If you can do something that is a little bit easier to do because it's like using AI to produce, maybe that's helping. Yeah. Yeah, the Elite Dangerous players that are against them. Yeah, I get it. I was actually thinking at some point of playing those games, but then I thought, I'm invested in Guild Wars 2. I have fun with it, so why go back into those? Open a completely different can, so to say, of gameplay. A lot of kids space that exists around the time that I was like a lot younger, like 6 or 7, are starting to disappear. Things like Toontown and stuff like that don't really exist anymore to give kids, especially creative ones, the spaces they need to flourish. I mean, that would be cool if you had something like that in games as well. I think something maybe like Roblox and stuff does that, maybe Minecraft. But I feel like in new games that would be also interesting if you had a crazy split of community, that you have like 6-year-old kids up to like 60-year-old people. That would be amazing if you can capture an audience like that. I would love that, really. I think a generation split in games is never something that you wanted to have in a game. Have you seen the new Eve game? I have seen it. It's very interesting actually. I thought about playing it. When does it come out? I actually don't know. What I feel like is the MMOs work in waves. The biggest problem is that the new generation of games comes from games like Minecraft and have mostly playing on consoles and iPads. Yeah, that's a problem. I think MMOs mostly work on really PCs and gamers that are grown up by using PCs. I think you can maybe make some kind of console MMO as well. I think that works decently, but you can't make a good MMO. That might be a hot take, but you can't make a good MMO that is also playable on a phone. I personally think that's just against what an MMO is about. I really think so. Yeah. So I really hope that if there is any development going on in the background regarding an MMO, an unannounced project of Guild Wars 2's developers, then it will be, in my opinion, something that is maybe using console and PC games. That is fine, but it should never have something with mobile games in common. You know, I think mobile games are, you can make arguments for them that they are good or bad. That I don't want to judge about that. But what I want to judge about is that a PC game should never have easy ports to mobile, because then the PC game, in my opinion, loses heavily. And I'm talking heavily on value and attractiveness to me. That's my take as a PC gamer. But yeah, that is still my opinion, and I think a lot of you will agree with that. If my favorite drink, I'm so boring. I'm really sorry, Winslow. My favorite drink is water. I just drink water all the time. I don't drink any juice. I don't drink any alcohol. I mean, I'm just so boring. I'm really, what can I say? I'm just a boring German, you know. Even too boring for the other Germans, you know. That's my specialty, you know, the most boring German in the world. Yeah, maybe I'll be an onion. I mean, maybe, but I'm not really interested in games that are already out that I don't really have interest in playing, you know. Maybe at some point I will try them, but I'm personally really, I want to engage in a game quite hardcore. And then to do so, I actually want to really like the game already. And if I don't really, I'm not so, let's say, inclined to say this is a really good game, then maybe it's not the right one for me. I'm not sure if Albion would be for me. MMOs work for people who can focus on a thing for a long time, so it can also attract a lot of neurodivergence, which is what they really attracted me to Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I can see that, and I think a lot of the newer generation players, like the Summers, they are like really focused on getting the gameplay. They don't want to grind for hours to get the loot. They want to get the gameplay now. And that means that it's really hard to make them be attracted to MMOs. Because MMOs are not like you get the loot now. You get the loot in 100 hours or something that you actually grinded for. So I think that's the biggest reason why I personally think the Unannounced Project should maybe not be an MMO, but should be something that is like in the middle between an MMO and some kind of really modern game. Maybe. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. Mobile is for AFK games. Or really cash grab gacha games. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I know a lot of people will hate me for this comment with the water, but I mean, it's just, that's who I am, you know? I don't want to change because of other people telling me beer is the only thing for a German, you know? He only drinks water to take away from his academy. Yes, exactly. That's the whole reason I only drink water, you know? I'm like, I having like gallons of water just standing around so that the fish don't have it, yeah? Exactly. I have a question. Is Deadeye Pistol good for solo open world? I would say you can make it work for easy fights. It's actually quite decent. But as soon as you go into harder fights, the problem is that you don't have crazy good self-buffing capabilities with the pistol unload Deadeye. So I think if you go for easy open world fights or just meta events, it's completely fine. But if you want to solo bounties, if you want to solo fractals or stuff like that, then don't go for it. It's not made for that. I have other Deadeye builds on my channel where you can check them out on YouTube, and they are dedicated for solo gameplay. Yeah. I don't know. I think the leaks on Guild Wars 3, it's like people really don't know what's going on. I made videos about the topic, and I gave my opinion there and made it really concise and talking about different points there. But I think we don't know anything, as we need ArenaNet to announce anything about it before we can make some assumptions. I personally think it's quite clear that they are working on something. Just the amount of content that they are producing right now is too low to actually really say anything different. But I don't know if it's Guild Wars 3, if it's something else, if it's just the next expansion. I really don't know. I can't give any feedback on that. Yeah, low grind MMOs could be potentially quite interesting. Yeah, I agree. I just hope it also allows you to do something for a long run and not be done after 100 hours. That would be sad. I want to play an MMO and really dive into it and play it for a long time as well. Even if there is no like crazy incentive to do so, but at least it would be interesting for me. Bonk. Yes, bonk, bonk. Yeah, exactly. It's for the shorter attention span players, and that's a problem. At least for MMOs, yeah. That's good. Good that you understand, Winslow. Yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm a rather young person that is like living like an old person, drinking only water and not being like the fancy kids that drink their energy drinks and stuff and crazy alcohol cocktails and stuff. It's just, I'm chill, you know, I might be relaxed, laid back without having the need for some crazy drinks. Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Broken One. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, exactly. Talking about microplastic in the brain is always a bad sign if you already suspect something like that, Snowdrop. It's a big problem. Don't expect that, please. Yeah, I think I saw a report that this is actually currently really a big problem, that we all have that. Just if we want it or don't want it, it's just already by eating, by drinking, we get that passively. I think it's actually, there are some indications that this is actually reasons for some brain disease as well. It's actually crazy. So yeah, I guess we all have some kind of microplastic in our brain. If we are joking about it or not, it's apparently it's the case. Yeah. So I'm 26 at the moment. Vibarian. That's the answer I can give you. I'm 26, even though I look like 40 or something. No, I don't know how old you would have estimated me, but that's my age, yes. I think the thing is about hardcore and survival MMOs and stuff, I think you are niching down very hard with doing so. If you do it well, yes, I think there is a good niche to be filled. But I personally think, and I'm not joking here, as big the niche as possible, as that would be the good thing. You know, if you make an MMO, that's already a niche in games. So I personally think making the MMO for everyone would be way better than making an MMO for like a very small niche. Because I'm not sure if they can compete about other games that are already in the niche. That's my hot take there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Poisoning all over again. That's how it is, yeah. I just turned 34 a few weeks back. Been playing Guild Wars series for more than 20 years. I mean, don't feel old, you know, everyone is different. I mean, I feel old when I talk about stuff that I played the game for 10 years already, over 10 years. You know, everyone feels old. I guess that's how getting old feels. But that doesn't need to be a bad thing, you know. So just imagine getting old, you also get wiser, you know. That's how you should see it. You know, you get more experience, more laid back about this stuff. That's how you should see it. Yeah. Might be not true for everybody, but at least you can think like it. Yeah. yeah, Mr. Broken One. I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm waiting for the day when I turn like 50 or something, you know, and then I shave my beard, my completely gone, the whole beard, and then I look like 25, you know. This is the whole strategy. I'm working on that for decades. But at this point, people will be so surprised. If I'm still streaming, still doing content, people will be like, who is this guy? I never seen him. Yeah, that's my whole strategy there. I like it when we talk about other things than Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to talk about other stuff, especially on stream, you know. It's not like the game can be, you know, I can talk about stuff for ages, yes, especially about Guild Wars 2, but at some point you have to ask other questions as well, especially if they are as, you know, urgent as how old I am, you know. What could be more urgent than that? Yes. Yeah, Simmer politics arc when? I mean, to be honest, politics at this point seem just like even more doomer right now than Guild Wars 2. So why would I go into another different doomer topic? You know, just stay at Guild Wars 2, try to make it more positive, and just don't look at the rest of the world. Stay in gaming, you know. Games are supposedly happy and stuff, so that's where I rather stick to, yeah. Getting old is a privilege, yeah, exactly. I haven't tried Helldivers 2. Would you recommend that? You know, I'm really like, I don't know how much you watch my YouTube content and stuff, but I'm quite committed to content creation right now about Guild Wars 2, and I have quite a lot of fun with it. But there might be a time in the future where I don't have that much energy, where I don't have that much content to create content about anymore, if that makes sense. So then I might be looking for a different game that I want to play off stream, maybe even on stream. So I'm always open for suggestions that you think might be worthwhile to play for me. But I still have the hopes that I get some kind of unannounced project, maybe the next expansion, whatever, that keeps me playing Guild Wars 2 for just another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. That's my big hope. But you never know. You know, at some point there might be a future where I say, okay, Guild Wars 2 was really nice back then, but now I go to something different. Could happen. Yeah. Doing politics is like falling into the alt-right pipeline. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think doing politics is like, you will have problems with that. There will always be people that are really, really offensive to you. And that's not something I want. You know, I already get some offensive comments for whatever reason when I talk about, I don't know, just putting Untamed in S tier, and people say, no, Soul Beast is way better. And I get offended by that, even though I said in the beginning of my tier list, it's my personal take. So I don't want to go into politics where like 50% of the people will offend me because they are not agreeing, and the other 50%, even though they are agreeing, they are offending me because I said it the wrong way or something like that. So politics is a very hot topic. I don't want to touch it, really. I rather would like to continue with games and talk about that and get offended for placing Untamed in the wrong spot. You know, that's where I can say, okay, better of being offended about that than being offended about being not a racist or something like that. So, yeah. And you could do something like Muglock and do varieties sometimes in the future. Yeah, I think I will maybe do it if I don't have enough content from Guild Wars 2 anymore. But right now I'm too small to actually make that work. I will do it in the future, Winslow, don't worry. As someone that doesn't play Guild Wars 2, that's what's Duma about it right now. Interesting that we have someone that actually doesn't play Guild Wars 2 right now in the stream here. Welcome, by the way. I would say it's not like I'm Duma about it, actually. It's just the community with the recent patches and stuff. Really, at least some of the content creators, or most of them, actually feel like that the developers are currently working on something different in the background. And that they are somewhat left alone without actually getting any confirmation that they are working on something. So the community is like feeling the patches are too small for what they actually get promised in the beginning of an expansion cycle, something like that. So that's why people are somewhat Duma, at least some of them. I personally think the game is still awesome, so I still play it, even though there might be not the crazy amounts of content anymore, but I can still enjoy it at least. Yeah, I will not go into politics. I can tell you that much, it's no job for sure. Politics are something to debate with people who actually are interested in it, but some people just can't shut the fuck up. Yeah, there's always someone that actually just keeps talking about a topic that is already talked about for 500 times. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, see you later, Ginseng. So this was, you're back, that's what you meant. Okay, so we are just, I don't even know why we got here. People wanted to talk about something different than Guild Wars 2 at this point. And they recommended me to go into politics at some point, but I said, no, I will not go into politics. And then we came to this, why I should or why I shouldn't. Yeah, that's more like it. People are calling this patch trash, but we've had this kind of drought right now. Yeah, I think that the thing that I am a little bit scared of is like, if I look at the Wizards Vault, the next reset is in 140 days. It's like almost half a year. And that's not unexpected because they announced that the expansion will be in October. But I checked, and the actual number when it will be is like 28th of October. So it's like the last possible Tuesday in October. So it is a long content drought. It's like the full month of June, July, August, September, and I would say also October. So we have like 5 full months of, so to say, no content at all in the game. We will get the, yes, you might be right, we will get the, how is it called? The new Fractal CM. Yes, we will get that in 2 weeks. Yes, I'm aware about that and I'm happy about that. But I think this will not be like the saving grace for a lot of the content creation scene. I'm more happy about that we get the balance patch in 2 weeks as well. But I still think a lot of people are quite concerned about the amount of content that we got in the last few patches. That's more like it. Yeah, sometimes you can, I guess sometimes you can also talk about politics, I guess, if you don't do it as the only content that you do. Yeah, that's a good point. So in Guild Wars 2, what are your goals? Like, do you have full legendary, any project? So I actually released a short today because people always ask me about it, and I'm not working on, so to say, legendaries anymore because I have like insane amount of legendaries, as you can see. I mostly working on collecting a lot of skins. So I have a lot of skins in my wardrobe, and I want to fill those last gray spots as well. This is my ultimate end game goal. It is unachievable. I'm not joking. It's objectively unachievable, but at least I can still aim for that. By the way, you can see now my frames are dropping because there are so many people. It's so much over the top. So here my frames are really dropping. Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff to do in Guild Wars 2 to get all those skins. I have all the guaranteed wardrobe skins unlocked already, but I still a lot of other skins to do. This is my own goal. I just have fun, go for some new skins. That's the goal. Nice. I mean, hopefully Darren likes it. You know, I'm always like, I like to create content and talk with other content creators about it. especially if we can have some nice debates about it. So we will see. We will see. Hopefully I get some attention and we can talk about it together. It would be interesting. Time for another free legendary quest line, like Seasons of the Dragons. Yeah, that would be amazing. You know, return to part 2. People would be hyped and they would actually love the next expansion if they would do it. That's actually insane. Good point by Sek. That would be insane. Return to part 2, giving us a legendary open world ring. People would absolutely grind it like crazy. The current content isn't good enough for the time it will take to get the next expansion. Yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of people criticize. Is Mesmer your main? I would say I play every class. You see that because on my YouTube channel I have like build guides for every single elite spec and class. But I typically play like currently Mesmer is because it's really good in PvE. I played it a lot. But in all other game modes I play like every other class as well. It's like I'm just swapping, and that's the biggest amount of fun that I can have in Guild Wars 2 right now, is playing different classes, different builds all the time. But yes, currently I would say Mesmer is like my most played class in PvE at least. Yeah. Oh no, I'm getting gobbled by Darren's. Oh no, that's what it is. Hopefully I don't get a toxic video coming about me or Duma take about my video that I'm so wrong and stuff. So let's see. So I have playing the game since I think 2013. So it's like 12 years now that I played Guild Wars 2. And the interesting part is I can show that here on stream as well. I didn't play that much. So I played my like 13.4k hours, which is like crazy amounts of hours. If you think like how much time I could have invested in playing the piano or something, how good I would be now. But the hours that I spend in the game, if you compare to other players that played the game since release of the game almost, they always have like double, triple the amount of time. So I'm actually quite efficient with my time that I spend in the game. I made a lot of gold in the hours that I actually played the game. But of course, if you played that much amount of hours in a game, then you should also be either really good at it or have at least some crazy amount of progress in the game. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, everyone plays differently. If you don't have as much time to play the game as I do, then you have different, so to say, challenges and different stuff. You know, I played the game like for 13k hours and I have like an account value that is over 1 million. Yes, I have played the game a lot. I'm quite efficient. I have a lot of gold. Does that make me any better than you? Not at all. You have the same fun, maybe even more fun in the game, playing it, and that's completely fine. That's how you should play the game. Everyone should play the game as they wanted to. I just like to be efficient, want to make gold, so that's why I have so much account value. That's why people ask about it. I don't want to boast about it. It could be inspiring to you. That's fine, but I'm not someone that says this is like crazy. You could easily achieve that if you played the same amount of hours and would have the same dedication as I have. Sure. Yeah, that's like a year and a half in-game, exactly. I mean, there are obviously some, especially when I made a lot of gold, I was standing around like a lot of times AFK, so I would say at least 1 to 2k of those hours are AFKing, but yeah, it's a long time. I get that. It's a long time that I spend in the game. Yeah. Yeah, it's like 3 to 6 hours every day. Yeah, it's insane. And that's I would say that's the best point to tell people that even if I criticize the game, I actually love it. Because otherwise, why would I play a game for so long? You know, that's the important part here. I actually love the game, and that's why I played it for so long. And I'm really hoping that people are seeing that and saying, okay, this guy wants to get the game to a point where it's even better than it's already before. You know, this is what my whole arguing about what is, for example, wrong with power creep and why, for example, the new map is not perfect, stuff like that. I'm not saying to actually make the game look bad. No, in contrast, I actually want the opposite. I want the game to be better than before. That's why I'm criticizing it. I have 8k hours, but I never really focused on farming anything, just played World vs. World. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know, everyone plays it differently, and if you have fun, that's the only thing that matters. Really, that's the only thing. I was doing a lot of crafting. I was crafting like crazy, like refining materials and selling them, crafting into something different, like processing a lot of stuff. Like it was like 2K hours or something. I just overnight, I let the PC run and craft stuff. I'm not joking. That's what I made a lot of gold with. So not AFK farming. Did not do that. I'm just letting the PC, so to say, craft my stuff, like refining elderwood, refining mithril, that kind of stuff. And making other crafting products out of that, selling them, making profit. And over the course of time, I actually made decent amount of gold. That's what I did. Yeah. For me, once the guild I was part of began to slowly die down, I lost friends and people I've played with for almost 20 years, lost my spark and kind of lost the sense of fun doing the same events over and over without anyone to talk to. Guild Wars 2 is a terrible solo game. I think that's the interesting part is I would agree MMOs in general should be played with a community. As soon as your community dies or community leaves and goes to a different game, the game itself gets way worse. I agree with that. But personally, I think Guild Wars 2 can be easily played as a solo game, but you have the mindset of a solo gamer to make that work. Only then you can play Guild Wars 2 as a solo game. If you, for example, grind for achievements or something like that, then you can easily go in the game and try to make it solo and just have fun. But if you come from a perspective where the community is the thing that actually keeps you playing the game and the community dies, then you so to say, in a different spot and you don't want to really be in a position where you want to be a solo gamer. No, you want to be a community gamer, but the community is not there anymore. So that's why you quit. I think that makes total sense. And that's what's currently happening to Teapot, I would say. He likes the game, but his community is not there anymore. So he can't really play it for the most part because that's why he played it. And I don't have that issue right now because I was always someone that actually enjoyed playing the game even without crazy amounts of community interaction. I had some fun with my friends, yes, but it was not the thing that kept me playing, and that's why I'm still here. Let's see if that's in 1, 2, 3 years still the case, but at least for now, I still enjoy the game. Yeah, that's my take on that. But yeah, what can I say? That's everyone plays the game differently. By the way, thanks a lot for all the followers. Really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the stream. As always, if you have any feedback, any comments, any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to answer them. And if you have if you're a new player, want to have some ideas, want to have some build guides, some content guides in general, YouTube is a really good place, my YouTube channel, to just have some fun there. And I have a lot of content right now about Guild Wars 2. So be sure to check that one out. I have some mixed thoughts on both Teapot and Darren's, but mainly it's about how they influence the meta and they do in game. I think that's an interesting thing because especially Teapot, I would say Teapot and Lara actually have quite a big reach in the Guild Wars 2 community, at least in this somewhat tryhard community. Or not tryhard, but at least in a more committed community. And this is really interesting because if they, for example, white knight a patch or really want to tell people that this is actually a good sign or something like that, people get a way more positive feeling about the patch as if, for example, Darren's really down-talks the patch, even though the patch might not be the worst they have ever released or something like that. And people still get the feeling that a lot of other people, especially the big content creators, have a negative feeling about the patch. Holy shit, the lags of this is actually insane. So I think that's actually like the classical media in real life as well, where the society gets somewhat directed by the propaganda or the just people talking about specific news. So for example, if the news are talking about a specific event happening in, I don't know, South Asia, where a different event is happening in like North America, and they only talk about one of those events, even though both of them are equally important, that gives a completely different view on the situation. And that's the same on Guild Wars 2. So if someone is talking actually about one specific negative thing about a patch all the time, even though there are multiple good things, for example, the quality of life features and that kind of stuff, and Darren's is talking exclusively, for example, about the patch being bad because the content that they release is not good enough or the quality is not there, whatever. Even if I don't agree fully on that, if they only talk about that and not the good side about the patch looks way worse in people's eyes than if he would also talk about the positive things. That's like just the matter of perception. And that's really important. It's really, really important. Yeah, but what can I say? I'm just a small content creator. I can give my opinion here, but I can't change the big content creation scene in Guild Wars 2. Not at all, I would say. Non-girls or humans? I mean, human girls? I mean, personally, I'm more of a human girl enjoyer in that sense. I'm not a big non-enjoyer, but I mean, everyone what they want, that's just my take. Clickbait title? I mean, we debated that for like 2 hours almost already, so I'm not sure if it's a clickbait title or if it's like the current topic, so maybe. But is it clickbait if you talk for over 1 hour about it? I wouldn't say so, but everyone has this. You can make your own opinion on that, I guess. What is your favorite game besides Guild Wars 2? It depends a bit on my current state. So sometimes I just want to hop in and play a different game. Sometimes I want to commit really hard in a game. Then I want to play other MMOs. I really like to play, for example, Warframe. I like to play Final Fantasy to some extent. Stuff like that. But I'm not really try hard in those games. I'm just playing for fun. But I like a lot of roguelikes. So just going in, trying a new build in a roguelike and dying again and going to bed or something without much of commitment, I think that's good. Sometimes I just, after a long day of work, I want to play something that is quite easy to get into. Yeah. I think Darren's handles the Mucklock situation poorly. Yeah, I mean, people were really not happy about this content creation debate and stuff going on there. I don't want to get involved in that. It's not my type to talk about that. But I think there was a lot of problems in terms of how this was handled by different content creators. You should try Gauntlet. Really fun game with friends. I mean, sounds cool. I mean, it depends if you have friends, that's the main concern there. But I guess, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, Teapot did carry the Guild Wars 2 community, especially PvP, like for years. The event scene of content creation wise, it was insane. Yeah, for sure. So there was some beef going on between a lot of people and Mucklock and Valen and Guild Yen, the person behind Guild Yen. There was a lot of beef going between those. And I don't want to get into details because I don't know about them for the most part. I really don't care what other people do for the most part because that's their, I don't know, this what they do. I don't care about what other people do. But it was apparently like not really well handled by most parties involved in that. Yeah, let me tell it like that. Yeah. So if you want to get more details, watch Mucklock's channel, watch Valen's channel, watch like the other channels and watch those people. But I would say it's done and over. It's like it's not mattering. It's the past. So I'm also not someone that actually wants to have beef and drama in the community content creation scene. I think we should talk about the game, should have fun together, should debate the stuff in the game, and not really make some absolute drama content in the how is it called, in the outside of the game. I think that's not really what we should be doing. I'm playing on a U. I'd like to watch a collaboration with you and Fandre. I mean, would be cool. I mean, if he would be up for that, sure. I would really like that. I mean, what exactly would you like to see? Just some kind of podcast style or debate or something like that? Or would you like some crazy amount of like, I don't know, some kind of gold guide or something like that in that direction? Because I think we could make that happen if Fandre would be interested in that, of course. Yeah, exactly. The embedding drama was like, that was the whole reason why stuff happened and why we had some embedment, let's say, this discussion and stuff going on about, because there was some illegal embedding going on or something like that. But I really don't know what was the let's say, the truth there. And there was always some misleading information spread. So I really don't want to get into details here and take either side, because I just don't know all the information. It's not fair to judge without having all the information. I'd love to have a Sirma Fandel podcast discussion, because you both seem to be familiar in many ways. Similar minds. Yes, that would be cool. I would like that. I think Fandral is also very interested in gold farming and that kind of stuff in Guild Wars 2, so he would probably be a nice partner to talk about that kind of stuff, you know, because I have a lot of experience in that, even though I might not have like only YouTube content creation going about gold guides and that kind of stuff, but it's definitely something that I know a lot about. Yeah, so I guess that would be interesting. Yeah, maybe if someone is in chat with him next time, you can mention it so that we can actually get this going as well. If I can't reach out to him before that as well, of course. Very interesting. I'm always open for, especially when it's like like-minded people. I just want to talk about the game. I'm really happy to do that. Really, really. Nice. Good. That's good. Very nice. But don't oversell it, you know. I don't want to force anybody to do stuff that we don't want to continue. So if he doesn't have time or energy to do that, I'm completely fine with that. But I'm always open for debates, and especially for just some interesting, just making Guild Wars 2 seem more alive. I really feel like we just talking about the game would really help to make the game feel more alive. I really think there is this kind of teapots, tea time style content is really missing in the game. I really think so. Because this is where people just talk about the stuff together, have some interesting opinions on that. I really think this is something that really I would really like to engage with that and make people more proud of their game and have fun together. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Then that will probably happen soon. Yeah. What is more fun in your opinion, Guardian or Elementalist? I just did level 80 on both of them. I can't decide on which one to move on the story, etc. I think personally, I like Elementalist a little bit more because it's more flexible in terms of what you, so to say, can play, because you always carry your elements around with you. So that's really cool. So you can play always some kind of healer or some kind of other stuff while you also play DPS. That's really cool. But I think for a lot of people, Guardian is like the absolute broken spec because it's like absolutely insane what you can do with it. Currently, it's like Firebrand is really good right now, and Willbender is really good right now, and even DH is really good in PvE right now. Even in PvP is really good. So I think Guardian is like the spec where I would say if you like the fantasy of, you will always have a crazy good build. Whereas an Elementalist, it's like sometimes Elementalists are in a bad spot and you have to really sweat to get the same damage number as, for example, Dragon Hunter. So I personally like the fantasy of an Elementalist more, but I would say the safe bet is Guardian. Guardian always felt crazy in terms of how good it is. Yeah. I still need to do my open world Untamed guide since I did one for most of the Ranger specs when I was sick. Yeah, Untamed is really cool. I really would recommend doing an Untamed guide because it's probably one of the best open world elite specs out there. So making a guide about it, be sure to do that. It's really good. I'd recommend Guardian for general use, and if you want to do non-open world content, go for Elementalist. I think both of them have their value. I would actually not say that one of them is better. It's really just a flavor thing. You know, Guardian is like the Paladin, Light Warrior, and that kind of stuff, whereas Elemental is like, so I would say the squishy jack of all trades for the most part. But like with the elite specs and all the crazy buffs to a lot of different weapons and stuff, it's like every class can be played in every way. So you can even play some kind of heal tank Tempest or heal tank Catalyst if you really wanted to. So it's really, I don't know, open. I found it really interesting that people like you still love to come back to a game that they have pretty much everything in that game. You know, yes, people always want to have a goal, and I still have a goal in Guild Wars 2, yes. But I just, you know, I like the combat. I like to play different stuff. I like to improve at a new build. So why not come back? Why would I go for another game where I have to learn all the stuff again? Which is fun, yes. But why not go for a game where I have everything and can still learn something new? Because I don't master every single build. You know, it's still fun to me to play a new build. So that's my take, yeah. Yeah. And if you have even more questions regarding classes and want to see some gameplay, I have a dedicated video up on YouTube. You can just type !classes in the Twitch chat, and there you will see all the showcases of all the elite specs and a very short, concise description of how they are played in the meta right now and how they are. So this can help you, yeah. But of course, like Mr. Brockman, of course, if you don't have that mindset of trying different builds, having fun together, trying different things out, then it's not always something that will keep you playing, yeah. Welcome, Darren's Raiders. Welcome, welcome. I heard you actually watched my video. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Interesting. I hope you didn't roast it too much. With your recent, I would say, interesting or more aggressive takes on the new patch. I hope I didn't be not too positive in my videos. Nice. Glad you liked it. Glad you liked it. Hopefully you don't say it just to be polite. Yeah. The content overload, exactly. No, I think I always want to mention that to people that are new on my channel and on my content creation side of things. I'm like a person, I like to be rational about my stuff. I like to give my opinion with the facts behind it. And I want to give you my arguments why I'm having this opinion without offending anybody, and so to say, saying in a very objective way why this opinion might not be the only one that is out there. I can understand if someone, for example, really hates the new map. I can understand that. Even though I don't share this to 100%, I can still give this opinion, and that's why I want to make debates videos about this topic, because I can share my opinion on that while also asking for other people's opinions. It's not always working out that well in YouTube, I have to be honest. There are people that are offended even though I'm really rational about my opinion and really say this is a personal taste thing. People are still offending me, so yeah, that's I guess how it goes. So keep that in mind. But you're always very welcome to give your opinion, your takes, your questions, whatever, your answers, your feedback on my stream, on my YouTube, ever, always. Please do so. You went a bit harder than I would have in some sentences. Yeah, I guess that could be true. Yeah, I mean, it's not my spreadsheet, of course. You can use it, yeah. It's like, I linked it in the description, I think. You can just link it. I think it was just another guy that posted it, I think, at some point. And I think it's not like a proof to anything, but it's a really cool idea to make some educated guesses about matters that are currently going on in the background. So yeah, sure. Do it. I hope I didn't offend you, Max. I really wouldn't like to do that. Yeah. I'm almost an 8-year Necro player. Today I learned something new, twists, just because I paired two weapon sets that I've never paired before. I learned how they could feel into each other. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important about the game that we were just talking about before the raid. That the game can be played in multiple of ways. And yes, you might be goal driven. And yes, you might be someone that says, okay, I have like all the skins that I want in my wardrobe unlocked. Yes, I have like insane amount of legendary unlocked already, you know. I have 3 light armor legendaries unlocked. That's it. That was my goal. I'm done. I can quit the game now and I'm happy. But I personally always have the goal. I want to try out a new build. I want to have some fun there, learning it, getting better at it. If I'm, let's say, happy enough with my perfection of the build, I can go to another build and have fun again and play the same content that I did for the last 10 years. And I can still do it again. That's why I enjoy the Guild Wars 2 gameplay so much, because the build crafting and the combat together make the game for me like an infinite replayability. That might change in a year, in 2 years, like I mentioned before, that might change. But right now, that's why I play Guild Wars 2, yes. Honesty is key in discussions and it keeps the same. It's sane. Yeah, of course. I think being really honest is like, I would say German people are really like often considered too honest because they are too, let's say, prude about it. But I personally really think if you are in the internet and make statements about your opinion and try to be honest and give your rational take on it without offending anybody, honesty is a good thing. You know, that's my take. Yeah. Yeah, you love chaos. Yeah, I mean, I guess that then you are right here on my streams. That's the motto. Snowdrop, are you up for some nice? You're not online. For some nice fractals to get some chaos going, you know. Yeah. It's just very nice to have a place where everyone sees where the info comes from. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, chaos is, in my opinion, fun to have. That's why I stream a lot of pucking, like pucking fractal CMs, pucking for whatever bone skinner is like the craziest amount of chaos, or just going into PvP, you know, and trying to win in the craziest of hours solo queue. That's why you really get crazy chaos. Yes. But I think in a discussion, I really like to be organized and have my topics well laid out and give my takes on it without jumping from this argument to another one and then a different reason and a different, let's say, ending and conclusion. And that's not what I want to do. It's to keep people following what I'm actually talking about. Yes. Nice. Snowdrop is there. We can get some crazy fractals going. Today I like the fractals, that's why I asked. They are quite nice fractals today. I will do the healer as always. If you can look for some people, I would be really pleased. How to maintain boons as a heal chrono on fractal CMs, somewhat struggling. So first part is you can very decently well pre-stake as a chronomancer. Yeah. So if you, for example, if you have a setup like I do, that's a very common setup in fractals that are used, like Signet of Illusions and having the shatters, of course. So if I shatter all my shatters, then use the Signet, and then use the Mistlock, so I reset all my cooldowns. I have like Might, Protection, Vigor, Fury, all that stuff quite well covered. And as soon as I go into fight, I cast my Inspiring Imagery and my Phantasm Sharpshooter, and I have almost every boon covered again. You know, combine it with Continuum Split and you will be fine. If there are split phases, if there are some downtimes, you might lose the Alacrity. Yeah, exactly. We go for those. Yeah, so I would say that's the easy part. If you are playing, for example, 99 CM, where you have crazy amount of split phases and you can't really upkeep it all the time, you will see that in a second. I go for Blurred Inscription paired with the Signet of Inspiration to actually prolong, increase the duration, extend the duration of all my boons on my allies as well. But you will see that in a second. Yeah. Yeah, you will see it in a second. We will do the CMs and we will go to the T4s as well. You could use Mimic as well, but I personally think it makes the rotation more complicated, and especially in a chaotic situation, oftentimes you will not use it correctly. So I don't like to go for it, and I just go for the safer option and try to not use it because it's not necessary. I can upkeep my boons 100% of the time without Mimic. It's just making it even easier to do so, but I think in a chaotic situation I would rather have a third utility slot. Yeah. Guild Wars 3 will probably be too simple to play for veterans. I feel it's gonna not be that good. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said in my video and stuff, I really don't know how Guild Wars 3 will look like. At this point, I have to be honest, I don't even know if they will call it a Guild Wars 3. Because I got a really good comment by someone that said, if they call it Guild Wars 3, there will be a lot of people that did not play Guild Wars at all, Guild Wars 1, Guild Wars 2, and they will not play the game just because they are somewhat saying, oh, I know Guild Wars is not for me. So if they call it differently, they might attract a completely different player base without really changing what other people would think of it. Especially a Guild Wars 2 community would still play that game, or will try it for the most part, if it's interesting to them. So I think that might be an interesting idea. Yeah, we will see it. Like I said, we only Future and ArenaNet can tell what's going on behind the scenes, but yeah, at least that's my opinion on the matter. So let's see. I guess I'm lag GP, lag support. Okay. Do you have any tricks for Firebrand to cast all the mantras faster? I mean, hit your buttons faster. I'm really not joking. It's like Firebrand is really spammy. It's really a high APM, especially in modern builds with the mantra spamming all the time. It's really, you have to just hit your buttons all the time. That's, if you don't like that, you should probably go for a different support. Or yeah, the mantras are really spammy. It's just the only thing. Just hit them harder. Yeah, I'm sorry, Final One. That's the only good answer I can give you there. Yeah, exactly. It needs to be free of decades of preconceptions. And I think Guild Wars has a lot of preconceptions. The biggest example is Asmongold never played Guild Wars 2 as far as I know. And he will never do it. And I think it would personally be really good if we get such big content creators to try out a new game. And they will only do so if the game will be hyped up enough, or if it's just called differently and they don't have any preconceptions because of that. That might be my hot take, but I think this is a reasonable take. Yeah. I do think they may do a different thing in a different story world that doesn't entirely connect to Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1, maybe just a different world in the mists. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I would be, like I said, I would be happy just giving us a game with great new combat. I would be happy about that. You know, I don't care if it's like insane amount of content that is out at the beginning. If the combat is good, I don't care even if it's an MMO. You know, it could be an ARPG, an RPG, whatever, I will still play it. I'm not joking. Just needs to be a good combat-focused game. Yeah, Firebrand is like, it's like really like it's a piano at this point. Yeah, it's playing piano. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We get double the amount of players if Asmongold, if the crazy good high amount of gamer player base or viewer base streamers are coming to Guild Wars 3 or however it's gonna be called. If this will come out, people will play it. If people are not playing it because of the name, then we have a problem. So that's why I think the naming is a really important part about the game. I feel like there's not enough grind for people like Asmon and other hardcore MMORPGs players. Yeah, I think there are a lot of issues why people don't play it, and I think Guild Wars 2 is over the age to actually change that. But I personally think if we get players in the new unannounced project that did not play Guild Wars 2 before, especially big content creators like those, then we will be in a good spot. Only then. That's why I think a name change or just a different target audience, that would be good. Yeah. It took Rose like 13 years to play it, so yeah, I see your point about Guild Wars brand having some stigma. Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem is Guild Wars 2 people are really biased towards or against something, so it's really important that you had some kind of new start out. That's my hot take on that matter. Of course, I might be wrong there. You see, this is what I meant, by the way. I stacked my boons. Look at this boons. This is insane. All my party members have that, just because of the signet and the precast. I can't upkeep the quickness for the most part here, because it's from another player, but I can at least try to upkeep it as long as possible. And I will do that for the rest of the fight. This is what my fight looks like. Precasting and booning the allies. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I will try to keep up here on chat in the Fractal, but I can't promise you to do that because it's obviously I don't want to wipe my group just for reading the chat at the moment. I think you can invuln the access. I could do that, but I want to play it safe. You never know. It's just a 5k KP group, so I'd rather save it for a situation where I might have to be, I don't know, saving someone or something. Better play it safe than sorry, you know. That's my meta. Most of the people playing the game aren't hardcore players. Yeah. I mean, that will not change in the near future, but if we get a new game that is a little bit different target audience, maybe we get both. That would be my ideal dream, so to say. Having players that can play both types of games, or playing hardcore games, playing easy games, I think that would be amazing if you had both types of players. No, we did get the CC without me. Amazing. Good job, Snowdrop. Welcome, Woro. Welcome. Just finished my finals today. Yeah, nice. Good job. Glad you had time to join then. And that's, by the way, Filthy, if you're still here, that's why I also play Harrier here, because I need to kill my aspect here. Sometimes I get targeted by this boss Tethers mechanic, and if I don't play Harriers here, I can't actually kill the facets here. So I really want to get this, and if I play Givers, Minstrel, I might probably not be able to kill those ones. So it's really important to play it here. But in most other content, it's like absolutely overkill. Yeah, I mean, Ion 2, I think they planned the release for the end of the year or something like that. I think 2025 it's planned, yeah. I don't know. I think it will be quite pay to win heavy as far as I know. But you know, maybe it's a good game. Maybe I can play it as well. We will see. So let's go back to some booning. Yeah, full Harrier is like, I mean, in general, I would say in Fractals, full Harrier is really good because, yes, you might not be the craziest amount of DPS, but it's like Fractals are not really that challenging to have crazy amounts of toughness and even vitality. It's absolutely unnecessary. You can see how tanky I am, even though I'm playing full Harrier and I don't have any crazy defensive utilities, and I'm still never like below my 90% health threshold here. Guild Wars 3 probably won't be out for a solid 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it depends a bit if it's an MMO or if it's another game type. If it's an RPG, I think it could be out sooner. But if it's like really an MMO, I think it's very unlikely to be out in the next 3 to 5 years. I think before 2020 or 2013, I think it's not very likely to happen. No, I can't. Can I? Yeah, we get the rest. It's good. Yeah, on Epoch you could play full Minstrel. I think Epoch doesn't matter too much because you get the negative buffs anyway as a healer. But on all other Fractals, I think it's completely unnecessary to go for full tank or something like that. In strike missions, maybe, but in raids, I think there are some raid bosses where you are tanking, where you should actually have that. But for most players and most content, it's actually not necessary. Yeah, I mean, Diablo Immortal, I won't play it. I can tell you that much, Final One. This is not for me. We don't need this to see here. Get some booning. Nice. More time to farm legendaries? Yes, I mean, I will get like going up to all of them twice at some point if I could continue playing the game, I guess, at some point. But I mean, I just have fun, you know? I can see it going for more legendaries. At some point, I will even go, just because for completionist sakes, I will at some point going for full, how is it called? Flames of War, you know, 2 Flames of War. I will do it at some point, you know, just for the memes. I will do that. I think it's quite clear that Guild Wars 3 or whatever they are currently working on in the background was in development, or at least started being in development in 2021. Yeah, so they already have some work done, as far as I know. We could ask some devs here in chat, but they would probably not be able to talk about it. Just saying, there could be some work. There could be quite well into the development cycle. I think it will still take a year or so until they announce it, and then there could be an early access period depending on what kind of game it is. That will be my most likely scenario. But if it's an MMO, I think it will be not before 2028, I personally think. And that's the most optimistic take on that. Pretty new player, having lots of fun with easy Condi Reaper build in World vs. World, but sounds fun to be a real assassin with a hit and run playstyle. Is it hard to pull off? It depends a bit. If you play Deadeye, it's not too hard to pull off, but you will also suffer in the beginning because, of course, you will be killed because you play a hit and run playstyle and you are not that good in the beginning. But Deadeye is it's a build where I would recommend to a new player to actually play that if you want to get the thief roaming World vs. World kind of playstyle. It's not a fun playstyle to play against, don't get me wrong. I'm personally not a big enjoyer of playing against the Deadeye. But if you want the hit and run playstyle, this is what you should go for. For sure. I mean, so far so good. The Fractal group looks decent. My alacrity uptime was over 90% for most of them. That's what we like to see. And that's all just to the Signet of Inspiration, you know, that's the thing. Guild Wars 3 may even have a dev team completely separated from the Guild Wars 2 one. Yeah, that could be true. You know, they could have never played anything about Guild Wars 2 in the game as well. Yeah, good point. Could be. But I think they will have some players, or not players, but some developers being targeted from Guild Wars 2 to Guild Wars 3 just for the sake of efficiency. But I totally see that they would have new jobs posted that they will never have any interaction with Guild Wars 2. That could definitely be the case. What's your opinion on Marshall stats? So let me check what Marshall stats are before I give you my opinion on that. But personally, stats that I don't know what they exactly are typically bad stats. Yeah, stats that I don't know the exact stats types that are combined together, me as a build crafter, it's typically a bad sign. So typically it's not useful. Let's check it out in a second. But then we can talk about it. No, it's no pain, no gain. Marshall. Power, precision, healing, power, condition damage. Yeah, okay. So the thing here is you don't have any boon duration and we don't have any concentration on boon duration and any expertise on there. So you are like a power hybrid healing build that is like not doing a good job of keeping up wounds and is not doing a good job of keeping up expertise and conditions. So I don't even know what kind of role you want to fill there. It's like the ultimate hybrid that isn't celestial. You know, I'm not joking. This is what a Marshall is. No, I don't use it here. I go for Boon Strip because I don't trust my necromancers. And I'm going for... I was a little bit too fast with my Moa here. I guess that's fine. Then, I guess no CCing here. Yeah, I typically go for the full CC setup just to make sure that we get the side CC, which I failed right now, or we failed. I mean, I was doing 17k CC. And then I strip here. That's my job, you know, dealing with the mechanics while all my other players, especially the DPS players, just ignore every single mechanic in the fight. That's why I like to play support, because I can trust myself, for the most part, to actually deal with the mechanics, while my DPS players will be hopefully dealing enough damage to actually succeed here. Even in a 5 cape group, we should be able to face here now, I hope. No. You never know. I mean, we have our Soul Beast does less DPS than our quickness harp, so that's already a bad sign. That's not a good sign, I have to be honest, but what can you do? Yeah, Marshall was interesting on Viva, but I think it's now like, yeah, Viva is not in a good spot, and I think Marshall is not that crazy good in most situations as well. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you have to, if you have Arc DPS installed, maybe you have to check out if it's still up to date. Oops, I should have opened. Oops, sorry. Oops. Should not talk to chat while you should do mechanics. I'm sorry. Yeah, for roaming, I think Marshall is actually decent, but I don't know. I feel like Marshall is like a little bit too dreamy. You know, it doesn't have the crazy amount of usefulness for a lot of situations that, for example, a Celestial Weaver would have. You know, you don't get any toughness, you don't have any boon duration either. I don't know, it doesn't feel that great anymore. I think roaming is like either you go really tanky or you go really aggressive. That's the sad truth here. Imagine we think of Guild Wars 3 and stuff like that at the end, do the Blizzard move. You don't you guys have phones? Oh no, that would be horrible. I really don't want a mobile game. Please, that's the only wish I have. Don't do a mobile game. Yeah, Marshall Weaver is really old. I think it's not like working anymore. Yeah. I was curious because I believe Zelofrag have parts of Marshall in his personal dagger. I think Zelofrag is a decent player, don't get me wrong, but I think this build lives a little bit in the past. I think the Marshall roaming Weaver times are a little bit over. I really don't see a reason why you would run Marshall right now, to be honest. I mean, it would be insane. If it's a mobile game, I would not be only sad, I would also be completely, you know, I don't know. I would be speechless, to be honest. I wouldn't know what to talk about anymore. Don't get me wrong, there could be a good mobile game, but it would not be for me. That's the thing, you know. I want to play a PC game. I want to engage with my stuff and in a somewhat try-hard scenario. And I don't know if a mobile game is really like crazy amounts of good combat and a try-hard scenario. That's my thing here. What path did you take while making legendary trinkets, the rewards or the achievements? The answer to this question is actually both. So at the beginning, I did all the reward tracks, so it was really easy for me. But after a while, I went for all the meta achievements anyway. So yes, I would say both. A pretty new player having lots of fun with easy Condi Reaper build in World vs. World, but sounds fun to be a real assassin. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you should go for, let's say, some kind of dead eye or something like that. Maybe even go for some kind of. You can go for a Power Reaper with spear and sword. That's also fine, you know. This DPS is horrible, I have to be honest. But it's fine. We did it. What's the other signet you're using? So I'm currently using the Moa signet for the CC. Please, GG, please. Please, my friend. Thanks. So this is for resetting my shatters, and this is for more CC. You will see this coming handy in a few seconds. So this will be the saving grace for this group CC, I can tell you that much. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, a gacha game would be solving the money issue. I mean, for ArenaNet, that much is for sure. But I'm not sure if I would like it. Yeah, that's my take on that. Nice, we got the CC this time. So hopefully we also have enough damage to actually make that work. I can recommend Freeze Condi Reaper for PvP. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I think Condi Reaper, sorry for the pun there, by the way. I think Condi Reaper is really good right now, and it's a really fun build to play. It might not be like the absolute best for ranked, but I think Condi Reaper is an all-time favorite. No, we didn't get the CC. And the damage rather. Yeah. Can I get that? Yeah. Now you will see the CC. The first part, this is the easy part, and later we will get the double CC from the double Moa incoming. That will be quite important. Also 60% quickness feels bad. Yeah, I mean, that's a classical, I would say, problem in packs that you can't guarantee that your group will have the full quickness uptime and alacrity uptime, because you can only cover one if you're like me, just a single player. But I mean, I'm happy if we don't die here. You know, that's the main thing here. Yeah, I mean, there is already a gacha game in Guild Wars 2, that's true, but you can't really get crazy amounts of, let's say, money because of that from like 90% of the community, because there is nothing in there that is actually like, you have to get it to actually succeed. But in a gacha game, it's like very hard to some extent to actually get full value of every single piece in the game without having crazy grind going on. No, this is not, this is good. So let's see how many people die to the fear here. It's always a very fun thing to see. Get another spread. That's not a good sign, but okay. I'm not using the Mesmer rune because I don't need even more CC. Typically, I'm fine. You can see it's actually, I did it without that much of an issue. But you could use it, of course. Yes, you're right. I'm using typically here, I think, Monk rune. Yeah, it's Monk rune. Just for more healing. Yeah, our Soul Beast is like really getting carried here, I have to be honest. But it's fine. We won. The main goal for company is to make profit. They don't care about players crying on forum or social media. Look at Diablo 4. Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you can make profit and keep the players still playing, even if they are crying, that's the main thing. You just want to get enough money from them and interest and keep them playing of the same time. That's how you want to do it. And I really hope that ANET is a little bit different and wants to make a good game as well. I think there are some companies that want to do that as well. But the new amount of, let's say, development in terms of new games and stuff, I often feel like they really want to get the game and a lot of hype in the beginning and people playing it. And then they are happy and made their money already, and then it's okay to let it die again. That's at least what the new MMOs feel like. They're really not in for the long run. But let's see, maybe I'm wrong here. Player need to wake up and understand that it's not about players, but also about companies making profit. I mean, I think that's a big problem that a lot of people expect like 20 years of content in a new game for a price that is like 20 euro or something, $20. Yeah, people expect crazy amounts of content for almost no amount of money. You know, that's the crazy part. So I really think we have to have a different mindset about making content, making games, so that it's actually fun to play and we actually pay for their work in a way that actually is worthwhile for them to continue doing. That's my important statement here. Can you tell me which build I should use on my Virtuoso for PvP and World vs. World? So I personally would like to say a Spear or Greatsword Power Virtuoso is good for both those situations because both can be played quite well together. Well, what do we have here? That's an interesting... What was he doing? So let's go for some power fights here. Very good. I mean, this time we got actually a decent burst. Does someone do the portal? I guess this time I have to remember. Maybe someone has to remind me. I have to remember. I have to remember to open the portal here. It's always fun to see how many people die here. I'm sorry, you know, I don't want to be mean, you know. It's just like, if I have so many puck runs, and it's like there are some situations like Bone Skinner and this part of the Fractal and a lot of other situations where I just know people will die, you know, or it happens very frequently. So at this point, I just want to be happy about it when no one dies. So that's why I'm expecting it to actually happen, yeah. I hope you understand my negative processing here. If you expect the worst outcome, you're quite likely to actually live with it. If you expect only the best outcome, you might actually get a worse outcome and you might die because of that in your group. So that's the whole idea here. Dagger Thief is alive for PvP, World versus PvE. For PvE, yes. For World versus World or PvP, I wouldn't say so. No, it's typically Dagger Pistol or Sword Dagger. That's more like it, yeah. Is Dagger a lot better for hit and run compared to Power Reaper with Spear and Greatsword? I would say it is. It's better, yes, but it's not insane amount of better. So I think Reaper is in a decent spot. I'm not sure if Reaper is the best choice though. I think Harbinger is better for the hit and run playstyle. But it's definitely... Oh, we lost someone. That's not a good sign. But yeah, I think you can still play it, don't worry. You can play Reaper with Greatsword, and especially Spear is the one that I would recommend for a hit and run playstyle. It's fine. We will kill it anyway. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Maybe we will not. It's fine. People complain about $20 DLC with 30 hours of gameplay, but order pizza for $30. Yeah, exactly. I think it's like really... People are having such a weird think process about games, you know? at some point, paying for a coffee costs like a fifth of what you pay for Guild Wars 2 expansions, where you would then get like 100 hours out of, you know, with all the patches in there. And a coffee you would drink in like 20 minutes or something, you know, that's the comparison. What? And people don't see that? It's actually insane to me. But I mean, everyone is different, so. Yeah, exactly. Stacking on Braham and that kind of stuff. It's like, it's really like if you puck, you experience and expect the worst in people. That's just how I see it and how I enjoy the game nowadays. It's really like that. A group member dies. Happy necro noises. I can feel you. Yes. I actually don't use it, actually. I have to be honest. I use Signet of Inspiration only on 99 CM, because only there I feel like it's necessary. For most of the other things, yes, you could use it, and it would maybe be better, but I just am, you know, I'm streaming at the time, and I can't concentrate on 100% of the content, and we still get it done. So I would rather like to talk to you and make some entertaining content and not making the absolute best and just perfect outcome. I hope that makes sense. I've played MMORPG since 2022. Good classic Korean game. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. You are like over 20 years in the genre then. Nice, nice. I think we have so many scrappers I can go for my CC. Let's go do that. Thanks for the follows, by the way. Really appreciate it. Yeah, if you struggle with the boons, then go for it. You know, if you can't upkeep the boons any other way, sure, go for it. But I personally don't have that much issues, at least as far as I know. Maybe my group sees that differently, but I personally don't have that crazy amount of issues. So that's why I'm going for that. Yeah, so we have 2 scrappers here, so I don't go for the reflect. But yeah, I think it worked out. Now we need more CC anyway, that's good. Nice, we got the CC. Yeah, I mean, I see you, Bob. I really see what you're saying and why people think like that, but I think they should change their thinking process, and they should say, yes, the coffee is expensive, but buying for a little bit more expensive game that I can keep for playing for way longer is a way more smart move. You know, that's how they should think, but they want to have the stimulation now and don't want to spend more money on something that will give more stuff in the long run. I think that's the whole issue here. Nice, this time we did the good job. That's nice. Nice, a bit more CC. I'm sorry I didn't give resistance. Yes, I didn't. I missed. Bad player, I'm really sorry. I mean, the thing is, I mean, I don't need the resistance for the weakness if I cleanse the weakness, you know, instantly. So I don't need the resistance. Chrono is so broken, you have a lot of cleanses baseline in the kit as well. If I didn't cleanse it, then oh my god, I'm really sorry for you. Well, I did a really big mistake then. Nice, good job. What's the trick when to know when to feedback here? So feedback, if you take it, you have to use it when the art boss is actually doing the red orb attack. That's when you need to feedback. Yeah. If you do the red orb attack, then or the boss does it, then you have to reflect. But it's not like 100% necessary. Keep that in mind. It's like you can do it without it. It's just making it a little bit smoother for the whole party. Yeah. Exactly. You don't need actually reflect if you have a soul beast. If you have a decent scrapper, they can reflect as well. That's the crazy part. They have that baseline in their kit. And they deal even more damage then. So everyone is happy about letting them reflect if they do it. Yeah. So here I do a reflect as well, just so that I get the reflect on the orbs. I agree with you, but expecting people to think beyond monkey, see monkey, eat is a bit of big ask. Yeah. But I feel like that's the only thing how you can actually make a new MMO come out without having, so to say, people that are expecting too much. You know, only if people accept that this is the only way to actually make a game happen that is, so to say, as big as WoW or will get as big as WoW at some point, only then, really, only then that will happen. It will never happen if people expect a crazy good game for like 10 euro. It's not gonna happen, yeah. I personally, I think if I would have put a price tag on Guild Wars 2, it would be really hard for me to justify anything in terms of money that I did not or pay for Guild Wars 2. If you put all the expansions together, you know, I paid over 100 euro or something, which is like $100 or something, yeah. And I think this is already way too little, you know. I purchased no gems. I got all of my stuff with gold, in-game gold. So I personally think I played the game for 13k hours or something like that, and I did not purchase a lot of stuff in the game or with real money. You know, that's just a big crazy bummer in that sense for Renet, because I played the game for so long. They could have made thousands of euro with that if they would have some kind of, how's it called, subscription fee. I would have paid that. You know, that's the crazy part. Oh, this guy's standing in my way. But what can you do? You know, that's what they were aiming for a casual audience, for people that are not investing a lot of money in there. And I hope they realize with the new game that they have a decent amount of money income so that they can keep up with the new, I don't know, with the new content they want to push out. But I think it might be a struggle again. Because if you make a game for a casual audience, you really have to also make it attractive in a monetization kind of way. And I don't know. It seems like a challenge for sure. I don't know. We will see. It's the only thing I can tell for sure. Only ANET and the future knows what we will get. Yeah. I'd be happy to drop $60 for ANET if they make a better story, more maps, raid, PvP, world versus world, basically fix everything. Yeah, same. I'm definitely saying the same thing. But of course, I think at this point, I'm not 100% sure if this will actually happen, if they will ever fix that, or if they just said Guild Wars 2 is now in a mode where we push out somewhat new content, and that's about it. We don't want to fix existing stuff for the most part, because we are focused on something in the background. Could be. I think they make a lot of money still with the gemstone stuff, and this is okay. You know, I'm happy with that. I'm just hoping that they will realize that to keep the players alive, the player base, they also have to push out either crazy good new content or making content repeatable in a way that people are still interested in playing the game. I think if nothing of that happens, then Guild Wars 2 will die a slow death. That's my hot take here. The problem with Guild Wars 2 expansion prices at the moment is that for $5 difference, we got way better content. Exactly. I think Heart of Thorns, Part of Fire, or even End of Dragons, those were crazy good content patches, and expansions, and I personally think they could have been priced double that they were priced for the amount of content we got and the quality. And then now the Chandler Wilds and Soto expansions would have been way more like, okay, this is a reasonable price. But now it's like you got way less content for like $5 less. That's the bummer, yeah. So they did not make a crazy good job in assessing how much value they have with their expansions. That's the problem, yeah. Looking back at it, I'm regretting all the time and money that I have put into World of Warcraft, but there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, I mean, I think regret is not the thing that you should do because that's not helping anybody, but I can see why you would feel like that for sure. I have never seen people use that other signet for shadow reset. Is it better than taking any other utility skill? So I personally like that because it's like a safe thing to do, because I know for a fact that I can get my Condi cleanses, my healing, my boons up, and it's like giving me like another crazy amount of just utility with it. So I get way more value from a lot of my shatters. You know, I can use them way more leniently. That's why I like to do it. Yeah. My God, that's a lot of pain, I have to be honest. You could see this was a crazy amount of reset from the shatters because I got like crazy insane amount of cleanses, healing, and boons out of that. I think no other utility skill that I could have taken there would have helped my group there more. Yeah, so ooh. Yeah, that's the problem here. We get crazy amount of damage here. Yeah, this is a really bad combination of mistlock instabilities. Nice. Didn't get the CC, that's what we like to see. Oh my God. Please come, please come, please come, please come. Okay, we got the CC. Get some stability here, and now we should be fine. That was a hot one, but at least I didn't die or didn't get my mistlock removed. So I did a good job at staying alive. My party died though. Maybe that was because of me, maybe because it was of bad positioning by them. Anyway, we survived. What will be better? Universal class with max priority to have a spec built to win solo fights in World vs. World, but also playable well in Fractals and be immortal in solo boss farming? Engineer or Guardian? I would say Guardian, to be honest. I think Engineer is like in roaming is not that good. I think Engineer is decent if you can play it, but I think Guardian is way easier to get into. And for solo fights, I think Mechanist is the king, but Willbender and Firebrand are close as well. So I personally would go for Guardian, to be honest. That would be my take. As much as Jantia sucks in the end, the whole expansion for 25 bucks at least is dirt cheap. Yeah, I agree. I think you might not like it, but I think it's still worth the 25 bucks for sure. And this says a lot about the marketing of Guild Wars 2 and how they actually did that. You know, they could have easily gotten way more money out of that, or have at least in the big earlier expansions. Oh my God, I didn't hit it. No. So if you hit the last crate and also give more it will run to you. So now it's a little bit more annoying, but I guess we can still get the kill. Anyways, just drop by to thank you for your videos. I enjoy watching learning your builds. Glad you enjoy them. Glad you enjoy them. Always happy to help and more to come. Don't worry. 15 to 25 bucks on other games is barely a battle pass and that's it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the crazy part. That's the absolutely insane part. Holy shit, it did one-shot me. Yeah, that's the crazy part. You know, it's like if you go to any other game, typically it's like even more expensive than Guild Wars 2 and you get less content. That's the crazy part. Yeah, I agree. Of course, the gap between MMOs and what you expect from an MMO and what you expect from other games, that might be different. I know. But that doesn't mean that Guild Wars 2 can't be monetized more aggressively in terms of the money that you pay. I think you also have to expect then to make cool skins that are not in the Champ Store. I think they did a way better job with the last two expansions, making more skins that are not in the Champ Store so that you actually get cool skins that you can get in the game without actually using the microtransactions. But I feel like the argument always holds true that you actually can get all the skins in Guild Wars 2 by just playing the game and converting gold into gems. Yeah. So that's always a valid argument in my opinion, for sure. Willbender is insane, but Rival makes so chill. Yes, Willbender is really, really good. I think it's a really underrated spec, but I think if you want to play some really easy to get into fun, I don't know, fun and just relaxed and laid back gameplay, then Rival Mechanist is insane. Yeah, Snowdrop, that's what we like actually. That's what we like to see here. You know, otherwise it would be, anything else would be not that fun. You know, we like chaos. I don't complain about the price. They could ask more for better quality, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I think Chant Device for 25 euro or dollar, I think that's okay. You know, this is something that I would say I'm happy with that. I think in general, we did expect more for most people. That's the sad part, because we had Living World seasons before that were somewhat similar. We had expansions that were way more intense and way more insane in quality and quantity. So this is what we expected, but I think we were a little bit like spoiled, to be honest. That's the main problem. We were spoiled by the past, and now we are getting back to the ground of, let's say, the real things. Yeah. So doesn't mean it's bad what we get. It's just not as good as we got before. Yeah. Hope that makes sense. And I always want to mention that for a new player that is maybe in chat here. Guild Wars 2, even if there are doomers like other content creators out there or whatever you may be feeling the atmosphere, Guild Wars 2, the combat, the content, the amount of stuff that is in the game that you can get is insane. You should, if you want to start the game because it looks fun, don't let anyone tell you anything different. The game is amazing. There is so much new stuff to explore, so much crazy, cool content that you get in the game for almost free at this point. It's insane. It's really like, just play the game, enjoy your own story. There is so much to explore and so much stuff to go for. I really want to emphasize that. It's only for veterans where you can debate about the new content being not as much as you would like. Yeah, that's the thing. You can get all the legendaries you want by doing fractal CMs every day. Exactly. I mean, I think that's not completely true. Some. How do we reset? What are you doing? What are they doing? I guess we go for a full reset. Come on, Eric. No. Of course you can convert gold to gems. That's the best part. Yeah, I think that's the part where I would say it's like, yeah, I guess we don't go for full reset. Nice. Now I don't have my cooldowns. Nice. Oh, that's why we didn't go. Okay. Yeah, so come on, please, guys. Either full reset or don't reset, please. Thanks. We did it after only 2 minutes of waiting for it. So I think the monetization of Guild Wars 2 is one of the best in the genre, because you get the game for essentially very cheap, while you also get access to most of the game's content and stuff without having to pay for anything, and you can get all the premium stuff that is in the game that might be, so to say, locked behind the gem store for gold. You don't have to spend any money, and I think that's a very big plus that not all, if not most of the other games don't have. Yeah, I'm not joking. I think that's a big selling point of the game, which not a lot of content creators talk about when they try out the game, because the monetization is really fair in that sense. The only thing that I would criticize for the most part is that you don't have that you have the loot boxes that are a little bit annoying to actually get new skins out of there. But for the most part, it's not necessary for anything, and the power creep and the stuff is completely in the game. It's not like from the gem store or crazy features that you have to buy for real money. With the exception of the newer elite specs and newer, how's it called? Just features that came with the expansions. Yes, this is the big exception, but I would say for $100 or something, you get all the expansions, even cheaper nowadays. So it's like, I would say pretty worthwhile to say Guild Wars 2 has a crazy amount of just fair monetization, I would say. Yeah, I mean, if you start playing Rival Mech, you will have a lot of fun with it, but you will be addicted to it in that sense because all the other classes seem way too hard to play then. I'm not joking. It's like, there is a big difference between Rival Mech and a lot of other low intensity or even lower, so to say, normal builds. It's just, you have crazy amount of just convenient things happening in Rival Mech, and that's something that you can't really get that high DPS from range on other builds. It's not the best build, don't get me wrong, but it's a very easy build to play and really relax and chill. So you will get spoiled by that as well. Yeah, that's a big downtime. Yeah, 2 minutes, way too long. Yeah, if there is a sale, you get a crazy amount of content for even less money than usual. Yeah, so if you can't afford that expansions, if they are on normal price, then you can easily go and wait for the sale, which is like every 3 months or something, and you get crazy amounts of content for very, very cheap. At least in my opinion, very, very cheap. The mastery top is so high on other builds, it's insane. I mean, I think that's a good part, to be honest. That might be like a hot take, but I think having a high skill level or high skill ceiling is a very good thing, because I want to learn a build and want to actually get rewarded for playing it very well. Yeah, I think having a build that has a high skill ceiling while also having a crazy low skill floor, that would be ideal. Yeah, I talked about it in how an ideal game on my YouTube channel would look like in terms of which kind of combat you would like to have. And I think having a low barrier to entry while having a really high skill ceiling is amazing. And I think, for example, Chronomancer does that. Chronomancer is really easy to get into, in my opinion. Just spam the rival skills and the shatters and you will be fine. But it has a very high skill ceiling because you can easily swap your traits, your utility skills, even your gear and the weapons and stuff around. And you will be so much better than average Chronomancer, and you will have so much more impact. So I personally think this is amazing. Yeah, keep that in mind. I think it's like, this is how the game should be played, and I think not all the builds have that luxury, but the builds that do, they are really, really good in my opinion. So I will try to go for the skip here. That's why I have the blink equipped, if you're wondering. It's something like, let me put, no, oh my god, I hate this bug. Yeah, I guess we can't do it then. Ah, no, nice, Eric did get it. Thanks for the follow, really appreciate it. I think Rival Mech shouldn't exist. I think that might be a hot take, yes, but I would actually I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I would actually agree. I think it's spoiling the community to expect too much of a DPS build or how easy it is to play. What is Eric actually doing in there? Very interesting. Which weapon and relic do you recommend besides Spear for hit and run Reaper? Sword. And I would probably go with Fireworks relic if you're playing Power Reaper. See you, Mox. See you. Have a nice sleep. Nice, we did it. Please GG everyone. Nice. And now we can just go there. Nice, we did it. Too hard, but we did it. I guess we did. Oh, we get a reset. I've been playing World vs. World lately. There's a Thief. Always been so unfun to play against perma stealth and insane mobility. I mean, Thieves are like, if you're roaming as a Thief, or if you're roaming against a Thief. Thief is designed to be played as an assassin. It doesn't matter which elite spec. That is really like hitting you, trying to kill you. If they can't do it, they disengage with stealth, with mobility. And then they will come back after a minute or so with full cooldowns and will try the same again. And at some point they will succeed. A good Thief is unkillable in World vs. World. Because they are always knowing the limits of their builds and going in when they have all their cooldowns, when they can kill you, and going out because they are faster than you, or more, let's say, stealthy and sneaky than you, and will actually at some point either kill you, or if they can't kill you because you're too tanky or too good, they will just leave and go fight another player. This is how Thief is played, and that's the strength. No other class with a few exceptions, actually can achieve a similar result. So I would say, if you don't like playing against them, yeah, too bad. You won't really have a big... There's no really big crazy options how to play against a good thief. If they just play it well, it's really hard to actually win against them. That's just the sad truth. Yeah. I have trouble having time to do stories because I want to do daily strikes, Wizard World, and Fractal. Yeah, I mean, the good part is you can do those dailies, and whenever you have time, like in 2 months, you can still do the story. It's not like the story is like insane and you have to do it to actually do anything in the game for the most part. Fractals, strikes and stuff, just do them what you like, and if you have more time, then you can do the story. I think the story in Guild Wars 2 is not that much, and it's also not that important that you have to do it day one. Keep that in mind. Is Thief a lot better for hit and run compared to Reaper? I think you have more tools in your baseline kit with stealth, which Reaper obviously doesn't have. You are more mobile, but you're also more squishy. So I would say, oh my god, the stability, instant knockback, this pro NPC is crazy. Yeah, so I would say Reaper, if you enjoy Necromancer, it's like a good pick for that with Spear and Sword, but it's not like the absolute best. I think Thief is just in general made for this kind of playstyle. That's the difference. Whereas Necromancer got like somewhat adopted in this playstyle just because of the recent addition of the weapons and the general playstyle that you could add. That was not possible before Soto and Jump the Wild, so to say, to play a fast Reaper for that matter. Yeah. Which doesn't mean you can't play it. I'm just saying Thief was made for that, and therefore it's like a little bit more, I don't know, easy to play and or easier to build craft around that, because every single build will probably have that same result. But like I said, you can do it, and especially if you're a Reaper enjoyer, stick to it. You will succeed with it as well. That's true for almost every build in Guild Wars 2. If you like the build, if you like the playstyle, stick to it and try to train, try to improve with it, and you will actually be able to kill almost any player. Yeah. But that's like, really like, I really try to spread this mindset in Guild Wars 2. Trying to get better, trying to improve at the game gets you anywhere in the game. It's like every single thing can be done in Guild Wars 2 with just having the right mindset, trying to get better at it, trying to improve, trying to learn something new, and looking at your own gameplay, how to improve at it. And this will get you anywhere. Yeah, I'm not joking. Let's get a nice pull. No! What pulled? So we get a double thing here. So much stealth. Insane. Who are we? Thieves. Yeah, that's also feature creep, you know. We don't need thieves to stealth permanently here as the group. It's crazy. So now we have focus. That's good. We need some stability for the next fight. That's also good. Very good. Reaper's better, all in all, then... Oops. Should not read chat while jumping. Reaper's better all in that hit and run. I think the problem is Reaper is really good right now as a general class to play in all game modes. Whereas Thief is like... I think, what can I say? Thief is like a little bit power crept. It got nerfed quite recently in PvE, rather in World vs. World. It got a little bit nerfed there. And that's something that impacted the hit and run playstyle, of course, the most, because that was the most annoying thing to face. And it's not always what people like to face, so that's why they nerfed it, because it was really, really good. But, of course, I think it's more playstyle dependent. If you like the Reaper playstyle, Reaper is better. If you play Thief very well because you understand how to play this class, going in, going back out, and resustaining, going back in, stuff like that. If you understand that, then Thief is better. It's always like, do you like the playstyle of the class? Do you use the mouse add-on from BlishHut? If yes, does it feel laggy? So I use the BlishHut mouse add-on, mouse cursor one, and it doesn't feel laggy at all. That's actually, I have to be honest, this is like the main reason why I use Blishot for this add-on. I use it for other things as well, but this is a really good one. I really like it. It's for the mount thing, like you see here, and for the mouse. Yeah. So I personally don't have any issues with that, at least not with the lagging. Yeah. Any predictions for the next patch? I mean, the next patch is like, I think you mean the next content patch, which will be in October with the next expansion. So it's like 5 months away. The next patch will only be balance patch. We already know all the stuff that will happen with it. We get the Fractal CM and we got the new updated patch notes. So the patch notes regarding, how is it called? Just the balance update, which is, I think, one of the best balance updates we got in the last year. So that will be fun to do, but it will not be like crazy content that we get with it. I mean, the Fractal CM, I will do it on the first day, sure, but it will not be like I will, so to say, keep playing that same Fractal for the next 5 days non-stop. That will not happen. So my predictions for the expansion, I have a video about that. I'm not sure if that's accurate. That's just a very aggressive take on the meta, but yeah, I guess there are some predictions to be made. So check my video out there. Check my YouTube channel out. I wonder if Revenant is all in or hit and run. I think Revenant is all in. Revenant is like, if you play very well, you can go out again. But typically, Revenant is like really like you go in or and kill the enemy, or the enemy kills you. I'm not joking. This is typically how you play Revenant, which is not a big problem. That's just a different playstyle. For people that, so to say, honest fighters, they fight to the end in one way or the other. Yeah. For me, it's not laggy. Yeah. But like I said, I think Blishot is nice, but it has problems in other departments. So I'm not the best experienced player with Blishot and stuff. But I think Blishot is good and all, but I think it's not perfect. It has some issues. I have problems starting it sometimes. And if I would say, if you don't like Blishot, you only use it for the cursor, then you could easily go for YOLO mouse. That would also be another option to do it. Yeah. Which is another third-party software. What makes Spear good for Power Reaper? It has crazy good damage and it has mobility on there. That's the main thing. Yeah. Yeah, Rev can do both, but I feel like a Thief can easily disengage. That's the difference. This is the difference for me. You know, that Thief has disengage potential, whereas Revenant has way more difficulty getting, so to say, out of a fight. Yes, you have block, you have, so to say, sustain in that sense, you can survive easily, but that's the difference in my opinion. You have way more problems getting out of the fight, yeah? If you don't have any cooldowns anymore, you will die typically. Yes, you can port out to some extent, to some NPCs or something like that, yes, but it's not always there, and a Thief can just port out anyway, yeah? So that's the difference. That's why I would say Thief is like hit and run, whereas a Revenant is like, you go in, you kill them, or you die. That's typically how it goes. Yeah, it's the same for PvP, I would say. But it's like always like that in Guild Wars 2. It's always the playstyle matters way more than a class design. The class design can always be really, really good, but if you don't like the playstyle of it, then you will succeed in way less amount of times. That's just the truth here. You always have to consider, if you like to be playing some kind of slow cruiser playstyle, typically Thief is not the class for you. Even if it's like meta, you will typically not succeed on it then, because it's just not the playstyle made for you. And if as soon as you accept that, you will have way more fun in the game. But or do it like me, play every single class and have fun with everyone, every single class that you play. Just accept the class for what it is and play it in the situation and content that you actually want to do it with this class. Yeah. I think with Renegade, you have to play hit and run, especially if you use ranged weapon. That's true, but then it's a little bit of a different, so to say, hit and run. You feel like you keep your range to try to kite them. That's a different kind of playstyle, I would say, because a Thief typically plays like, I would say, going all in, trying a lot of damage. And if you can't kill them in the first few seconds, typically I would say you say, okay, after 10 seconds, after 20 seconds, I say, okay, I disengage now with stealth, with some healing and stuff, and some mobility, and you come back when you get out of combat and go back in and try it again. Yeah. Whereas a renegade, you typically would do the, so to say, a little bit different take on this some kind of idea of going for kiting them. Always trying to keep the range so that they take damage from your short bow, from your long ranged attack skills, while you don't get that much damage and you just out-sustain them with the consistent damage that you put on them. It's not about getting in and out of the fight. It's more like prolonging the fight until you actually win because you kited them well enough. That's my take. Maybe you have a different build or playstyle, but that's how I would do it at least. I really enjoy that playstyle, nuke from range and then leave and then repeat. I think that's a really cool playstyle. I think it's cool that we have so many different builds and playstyles even within one elite spec. So for example, a Herald is more like go in and try to kill them, whereas a Renegade is more like you kite them, yeah? And then you have a Vindicator, which is more like the bruisery playstyle. It's really cool that you have those different kinds of playstyles within one class. I really like that. What is Fractal with the bears, you know, don't seeing where to jump. I'm really excited for the Fractal CM here, I have to be honest. Do you think it would be more balanced if Thief are forced to make a choice committing to a fight or disengaging like in the Assassin and other games? More upfront damage but higher cooldown? I think that's what they tried to do with the initiative nerf, so that you got less initiative for, or you need to spend more initiative now with all the hard-hitting skills or the important skills, so that it's actually more punishing if you can't hit them, if you can't consistently do them. So that's what they were aiming for. And I think that's a good balancing. I think you're right. In World vs. World, it's very frustrating to fight against a, how is it called, a good thief that disengages all the time, because they can do that still. I'm not sure if nerfing it so that it's not possible anymore is the right decision though, because I think that a lot of thieves are already said that it's nerfed, and if you nerf it so much that it's not possible anymore, I think a lot of people would not play it. Yeah, that might be a hot take, but I think it's important that you have people playing the stuff. No. Yeah, I think I think you should make it somewhat fair without having too much of annoying counterplay. Yeah, I really hope that this fight is a little bit more engaging in the CM. I think that will be the case, but I think right now it feels like I'm just a regular Fractal boss where I don't have to do anything other than just spamming my buttons. I like it, and I don't mind the reused asset. I think it's nice that we got a new fight, but I think it's not too exciting right now. What happened? What? I dodged. Come on. Nice, we got the CC. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it will not be the case in the Fractal CM. I think you will have to do the pre-event as well with the, how's it called? How is it called? With the this Son of Svanna. That's how they're called. Yeah, I think we have to do the pre-event as well. I think that's not a skip fight where you get the boss fight and that's it. I think they wanted to specifically do some kind of longer linear Fractal as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think in general, I think nerfing a class so that it's not played at all anymore is always a bad thing, especially when it's a class that is quite important for balancing, like a thief, to make it more important that you have not always bunkers running around and that kind of stuff. Good point there. Yeah, I think it's important to make different classes being valid to be played so that they counter each other. I think that's really important. Yeah. Yeah, if you play Salvation, then you will not have that problem, I guess, because Salvation is really good on Vindicator. But I would still say it's a class for me that is, what can I say? I think I don't like fighting Dead Eyes, specifically General Thieves in World vs. World. If you fight a really good one, it's really annoying to fight. So I personally, even if I might win the fight, it doesn't mean that I like to fight them. Yeah. Hope that's somewhat clear. No, we got someone down. No, MMOs are the best. Don't dare from the past, especially Guild Wars 2. I fucking love the game. I love the game as well. I'm just asking a question there, Hollow. But I can see why you would say something like that. I think a lot of people enjoy MMOs, but I really feel like that a lot of newer players might not enjoy it as much. That's the point that I made. I'm still really, annoyed that you can't dodge this thing, I have to be honest. Yeah, but like I said, we debated that earlier, so no infusion. That's sad. Now we have to clean the inventory. That sounds disgusting. Like equally skilled Thief versus equally skilled Renegade, Thief always wins that. I don't know about this particular matchup because I actually don't really face a lot of times players that are exactly the same skill level as I am, but I just don't like to fight thieves in World vs. World. I think it's, if you fight against a very good thief, they are oftentimes really annoying to fight, and that's not something that I want to have engaged in. I want to have content where I'm happy, where I have fun fighting it, and fighting just annoying builds, annoying thieves is not something that I consider fun. Yeah. So what's that? Almost expected something expensive, but no, it's not expensive. So let's clean the inventory here before we get some eye cancer here. No Sumas play MMOs, sadly. Yeah, and I think that's why you should go for a new MMO type of game where it's somewhat like an MMO, but it's more focused towards getting rewards easily, don't having the leveling process, maybe something like that, instantly getting into the end game. Stuff like that could be interesting, like going for some kind of RPG where it's not that important that you actually play like for 10, 20, 100 hours before you actually get to the end game, making a game that you can easily get into, having fun after 10 minutes without getting crazy on the grind already. Yeah, that's how I imagine a new kind of MMO that would also attract Sumas. But it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I think making a new game is already hard, and making a game that is attractive to a lot of different kinds of players, especially Sumas as well as the more older generation like we are. I really don't know how to do that. But I don't have to because I'm not a developer. I just play the game and can give my opinion after I played it. That's the good thing about being a YouTube content creator and just a gamer in general, So almost done. No, not this. I'm gonna grab something to eat by right back. Also, that Soul Beast was an imposter. Yeah, that was the Soul Beast in the party. I don't want to be toxic or anything, but that was like getting hard carried. Yeah, I have to admit, this was feeling a little bit like they wanted to get a relaxed run and did not tell us that they'd never played Soul Beast before or something like that. But yeah, what can I say? We did it. It was okay. Could have been faster. That's the only thing. Yeah, it was 5K and they were joining. I did not check, someone else would have checked probably, but come on, at this point, 5K is like you do that for a week and you have all the things or something like that. 5K, it's not too hard to reach if you actually know what you're doing. But come on, I don't really care. I just want to have some people that actually didn't die to the first attack on a CM. That's really the only thing why I go for some kind of KP runs. I have way more KP than this 5K, but I don't really care. I'm just happy that we succeeded. And I think it's more fun to watch a chaotic puck run than going for some kind of decently well-organized group that is not crazy, not a speedrun group, but also not too bad. I think more chaotic runs are like, that's why you can carry. Those people will be more happy to actually succeed than the people that are doing it for years already. So, I'm okay with that. Welcome, Echo Fox. You made it just after we finished our fractal run, and we had some spicy fractals today again. We had some spicy fractals, I can say. What would I say? yeah, we had how did Snowdrop put it? An Soulbeast that was an imposter. Yeah, I would say this is a quite accurate description of what actually happened. Yeah, I agree on that one. I agree. So at some point, that's what I wanted to mention here, I also have to get this collector's edition Sandstorm thing. So there will be a stream in the future where I ecto gamble. Yeah, where I ecto gamble a lot. And I mean, quite a lot of times. So I need, how many do I need for that? 100. So if I am unlucky, I lose like 10k gold or something like that. If I'm lucky, I actually made profit to get this. So maybe at some point we will do that on stream. I think you can only purchase 20 of those though. So I have to do it like 5 times on stream. So we will see. Yeah, I saw that you did CMs without me. I was so disappointed that I went AFK again for 30 minutes. Yeah, I just saw that you were raiding. So I thought, okay, not today. But yeah, we can do it tomorrow. Don't worry. And then I want to see your Condi Virtuoso, especially after you release the Condi Virtuoso build guide, you know. Now you should be really good top tier with it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no way. No way. Yeah, we will see. We will see. Condi Virtuoso, Temple of Fabit, CM guide. Maybe at some point. But I feel like the problem is that I have with this mod, if I make a guide like that, then there will be like maybe like 100 people in the community that actually want to watch that guide, yeah? And how many of those actually know my YouTube channel? Maybe like 10. And then you have 10 people watching this, yeah? So I put a lot of effort into a guide like that and then people watching it. So I really think this is like keeping me from doing guides like that. I really want to do guides and helping the community. But the problem is, if I already know when I start making the guide that only 100 people will watch it, it feels so bad. You know, putting hours into hours in doing this job, it feels so bad. I hope you can understand this from a content creator perspective. That it's, I want to do it, but it feels bad to actually make it because it's something that actually doesn't reward me with anything other than you watching it and being hopefully happy with it. But that's oftentimes not enough for my hours that I put in. I'm sorry to be so blunt and honest, but that's my thing here. How the heck do you have that much Blackline statuettes? I mean, I have a YouTube video. I have that on my YouTube channel. I opened 2,000 Blackline chests, yeah, and I got a lot of those Blackline guaranteed wardrobe unlocks, and I can't use them anymore. It now says all currently eligible wardrobe items are unlocked, so that's why I did it. Yeah, I opened 2,000 Blackline chest keys. That's just the leftovers from this. Yeah. I wish the Living World came back because the stories are so much better. To be honest, I feel like if they just charged $20 for Living World season, I would pay for it while waiting for an actual good expansion. Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. I think they had way more people working on that back then. That's just the truth there. Now they have like 400 developers, employees on ArenaNet, and I think, I don't have any numbers here, but I think a big part of them are actually working on the unannounced project and not working on Guild Wars 2 anymore. And that's why you notice the difference in content quality and quantity. Like I want more Soulbeast or Scrapper POV videos for Fractals. Yeah, I can actually, that's more like I can do it because I can do it on stream and make some content out of the stream and stuff because that's what I already do. But the very dedicated to one kind of encounter guides about that, that's really like way harder to do. Yeah. I recently joined a guild full of newbies and I recommend them your channel. No, that's very nice of you, Alena. I hope they actually enjoy it as much as I hope them to. Yeah, so really nice. It's always good if the word of mouth helps to spread my channel. So thanks for that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the boosters are nice. You know, it's like I got a lot of stuff from having just randomly opening a lot of Blackline chests and saving stuff up. But this inventory is a mess. It's a big mess. I just show it on stream to annoy Snowdrop, to be honest. Nah, I'm happy with it. Yeah, I mean, I saved up for those 2,000 keys quite a while. And it was, I mean, I don't want to spoiler you, just watch the video if you want to get the results, but let's say it was surprising. Yeah, surprising. I'm happy now anyway, however it went, I'm happy. I have now a lot of skins. That's why I did it. I have now a lot of skins unlocked, like it's insane how many cool skins you get just for free almost. One of the most, let's say, cool skins that you also get from the guaranteed wardrobe unlock is the Chaos Spear. For example, it's just one example. The Chaos Spear costs 5k gold, and you get them from one guaranteed wardrobe unlock. It's like, that's value. That's big value. So I'm happy that I got stuff like that as well. So I can't be sad about that. Yeah, I have a lot of different characters. Yeah, I mean, I have on my account, this is just my saving character. I have 70 characters. So yes, I have different ones. Surprising is definitely a word one could use. Yes. I mean, you are one to talk, you know, you are one to talk. 5 stuff in like 800 or 900 boxes. Yes, you could be also surprised, but in a different way, I would say. I want a 0 to hero when you show people how to become good heal firebrands, so the glory of Enid's favorite baby will shine it again. Yeah, I guess that would be an interesting thing. So that's saying heal firebrand from 0, level 1 to level 80, and to raids and CMs and stuff, like only heal firebrand, showcasing how you have to play it. I guess that would be very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's also the end of today's stream. It was a lot of fun. Sorry for you late joiners that I already end here, but I have to go to bed. It's already late here. Was really fun. Like I said, check out my YouTube channel and really appreciate your support, your followers, subscribes, everything. Really appreciate it. Have a nice evening. Have a nice night. I hope to see you tomorrow. And thanks a lot for watching. See you around. See you around. I'm sorry, Echo Fox. I'm sorry. Tomorrow it will be hopefully longer with you.